darkness of night, we live to die. We lose a soul every day.
Oh, welcome, my friends, to day two of our opening week in the TEC Fall Tournament. My name is Bull Skunk alongside Thibbledork, and we're here to introduce the Overwatch title here in the TEC. And we got one killer match for you today. We're all about quantity over quality today, Thibble.
We unfortunately had a forfeit towards the end of the day. One of the teams just dropping out for the week. Something just came up, emergencies happen and things like that. In these crazy, unprecedented times, as all the commercials like to say, you really never know what's going to happen there. But we do have these two teams here showing up. We have Somerset and then Johnstown showing up, the Trojans, as it were. We admittedly don't know a ton about these guys yet, which honestly makes it's kind of exciting for me. I'm really excited to see like what picks these guys want to pull out, what sort of skill range we're looking at here. Obviously, some younger players overall, but that's really historically never stopped anybody. We've had players like Sugar Free for last night's leftovers and Atlanta Academy, amongst many other teams, tearing it up. Players like Rhino as well, from the ages of like 12 really show us some amazing performances. So I'm excited to see what these two teams can put together. And we've also had just a great time in general going over all of their names, which has been a lot of fun.
It has been some fun. You'll notice a theme once we get in from the Johnstown roster at least. But before we get into that, let me just do a quick touch on format here. This will be a first to three series, full fixed map set, excuse me, going into today. We will be starting on Nepal for your control map. Then we'll be headed into Escort, Assault Hybrid, and then, of course, a closing control if we do need that map 5. We'll touch on those maps as we get to it.
We can.
But going in, go ahead.
We can at least touch on the first map coming in. One of our classic starters. Of course, we're starting on Control, and of course, we're starting on Nepal. I feel like Control is just such a beloved game mode in general because it's not 2CP, and you can't draw on it. There's nothing to worry about. The maps overall are just well designed and a good chance to like get that first map jitters out of your system. It's a chaotic sort of game mode that doesn't necessarily favor one team over the other. It's a good chance for underdog teams to kind of like put out like a good upset, momentum starting performance, and a great chance as well for teams that really want to set the pace and develop that momentum into a dominant sort of lead. Control really does it all. Nepal, some all-time great performances across this map. Stages like Village with the May Reaper, Sanctum with the Pharah and the McCree and the Torbjorn for some reason. Hate that dude. And then, of course, you have Shrine, which is kind of a mix of the open air and the more enclosed spaces. Lots of use of Wrecking Ball and Symmetra, like strong point control and zoning utility. The Sombra, of course, having been very popular lately. No idea, of course. We talk about metas, we talk about the Overwatch League, we talk about contenders. We're in probably a whole different zip code, country, continent situation to metas in that level of play. There might be some attempts to recreate those metas and compositions, but at the end of the day, these players are probably going to jump in on whatever they're comfortable on, whatever they can feel they can put a good performance on, which to me just means we might get some really crazy picks. I want to see some Junkrat. I want to see some Pharah or some Doomfist. Like a lot of times these DPS players really want to shine and try and carry these teams, like be that guy.
Perhaps a little Genji, maybe.
Oh yes, there's
maybe a little Genji
place for Genji. If maybe only for a life or two, if he's getting shut down, it's one of those picks where you go, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get a ton of value if they have a McCree and a Brigitte and a Reinhardt and all these other things on the other team. But that, of course, depends, right? If the composition allows it and allows your Genji to get value or any of those other crazy picks that I just mentioned, then it's really open season at that point.
Well, and when you're talking about, it's a chance for us to learn a little bit about these teams. It's a chance for these teams to learn a bit about each other. And on Nepal, we get a real sense of what kind of comfort picks they have. Control just in general, it really lends itself towards where are you most comfortable? What styles do you truly like to play? Which may be more dictated by maps as we go through more payload and point-oriented map types, but on Control, the sky's the limit, and it gives us a chance to learn a little bit about them. This league, of course, is all Pennsylvania State high schools, so that's at least geographically these schools are kind of close. We don't know if they've scrimmed each other, or if they've seen each other. This could be the first time that these two teams have ever met, and get to feel each other out and kind of test the waters a bit.
Hmm. I am not from Pennsylvania. I have very little geographical knowledge of the state. I am from California and I currently live in Florida. But I have this great mental image now in my head of these two teams finishing this game and walking down the street and just kind of seeing each other at like a Wawa or whatever. They have those there, right? That's the thing.
Uh,
You
uh,
know?
I don't know. I've
Okay.
never been to Central Pennsylvania.
We're going to assume there are Wawas in the northeastern coast area, and that they might run into each other there, and that would just be funny. That's the mental image I have in my head. It's just them like staring at each other from across
Okay,
the
for
aisle.
just in case they don't, what is a Wawa?
Oh, sure. It's weird that I'm the one educating on this. Again, I'm from California. A Wawa is like a convenience store slash fast food situation. They
Okay.
sell, all the stuff you would expect in like almost like a gas station attached store. So like little snacks and maybe some produce and stuff like that. They also sell some excellent cheesesteaks. Uh, I, I went to Philly, and I gotta say the best cheesesteak I had was from Wawa's. Um,
Nice. All
but
right.
jumping off of that into actual video game stuff, take it
My
away.
fault. My fault.
No, you're fine.
Let's take a look at our schedule for today. As we will have Greater Johnston, the Trojans, coming out against Somerset, the Eagles, out of Somerset, Pennsylvania. Obviously, being first week, both these teams are 0-0, looking to start off the season strong. And we can take a look at the rosters, see who's taken to the battlefield for each of our squads. For Greater Johnston, well, you've got Trojan 1, Trojan 2, Trojan
Uh-huh.
3,
Uh-huh.
Trojan 4, and then they're throwing a curveball at us, and we've got Trojan 5 and Trojan 6.
I was
So,
gonna guess. Okay, I'm glad I was keeping up with what you were putting down there. That's pretty solid.
hey, I'm glad. I'm glad you're following along. I'm following along. We're all in this together now.
Mhm.
Well, on the Somerset side of things, we've got Savo Prowler. It's going to be Arson, Dauntless, Sinister Pig. You've got Marshmallow Joe, aka MJ Plays, and then we got Kitten Spy.
What an excellent set of names there.
Agreed.
There's really no limit to the creativity of just in-game usernames in general across any esport or video game. I've been playing lots of New World, and boy howdy, do they get creative. Most of them I cannot recite on this broadcast, but man, they are funny. And stuff like Sinister's Pig and Kitten Spy are definitely up there for me in just like the novel, ridiculous usernames. So it looks like we are starting on Village here.
Well, I can definitely appreciate some animal themed gamer tags. I mean, in
Yes, you
case
can.
for obvious reasons, I feel kin. There's there's definitely a connection there, I'd say. So, but hey, we're not biased here. I'm not overly rooting for Sinister Pig or the Kitten Spy, but I do appreciate a good animal themed gamer tag. But let's get in here. Let's take a look at what these teams are comfortable with.
Yeah, so obviously plenty of things can change between now and the start of this actual match. But it looks like we've got an Orisa Diva coming out here for Somerset, and meanwhile for the Trojans, Winston Reinhardt. So something very brawly here, especially with that Lucio and the Baptiste. They want to start getting in your face, and then Trojan 5, Bryce is his actual name, probably looking to get some flanking hacks, taking over on the heading towards the mid ground, heading towards the point, actually, looking to see where Somerset are going to rotate from.
Yeah, interesting. This in the Sombra onto the objective. The rest of the team taking this high ground. Trojan 1 or Brennan could sit up there and just pepper down, get some nice preliminary shots in. With seeing the Symmetra, they're going to go ahead and back up onto the objective, try to fortify. But Savo is just going to slowly creep their way and try to get some opening damage, perhaps even opening pick. But Arson flies a little close to the sun, looping around to the back, gets isolated, found out. and that is a quick advantage here for Greater Johnstown area.
Oh, man.
And and Arson managed to leave a little present behind. And Brennan is gonna fall. It's a 5v5 as both of these teams just kind of poking and prodding at each other, but all the while, Greater Johnstown are building for sandwich.
Arson swapping over to the Junkrat here, hoping to apply a little more direct pressure, and I think that's definitely what the Trojans, or excuse me, what Somerset need. They need a little more oomph on the point. They need to get there because sure, they're poking out and they're getting really cheeky turret kills, but they're not getting any progress on the objective itself. So they need to walk up, they need to deal their damage. Their Orisa needs to set up. The Kittens by going down is not what you're looking for right there.
Nope, just sat still a little too long, and Trojan 1, aka Brennan's able to loop around and find some good picks. Just laid out a lot of suppressing fire. Picks up a pair. Yeah, one of them is going to get rezzed up, but the Moira's still not on the battlefield.
No, but this Junkrat is actually really great because I think the main thing that Somerset are waiting for is that extra pressure. And with that supercharger and this Junkrat damage, that's exactly what they need. Opening up with the Coalescence too, and I think this is a pretty solidly won fight for Somerset.
Yeah, Trojan 4 tried to bring it back with the Sal barrier, but no avail. Too many teammates had already been forced back to spawn, and this seems like only a matter of time. Bit of a stall there with the Primal Rage, but eventually Trojan 2 will get forced off the point, and they'll get roughly 85% before it gets flipped over.
I mean, this is a great little stall at the end of the day, 85% when they honestly lost that fight at about 40 or 50. Really holding on, great use of that primal there. And Somerset, a very expensive fight overall, but it was honestly, it's so long that Savo's 72% towards a supercharger again. Dauntless halfway back to the Valkyrie after using that midway through that fight. MJ plays with the late self-destruct. It did get a kill, so I am not allowed legally to critique it. But even so, it's going to be a little bit before that ultimate is back online. Meanwhile, the Trojans over here, lots to work with. A Visor and an Ant Matrix is always a great option. The EMP to open things up, maybe into a nice Shatter. So many options, and with 85% on the board, they don't need a lot to take this round.
No, and it's definitely that EMP I'm keeping an eye on. Arson looking to shut Trojans down before it can even make their way to the point. But he's tacked up, has to retreat, and just falls back into a ton of damage. 2 kills already here for the Trojans. Now running into a Coalescence. Somerset desperately trying to hold on.
Hey.
Arson just sends everybody back to spawn. You are evicted from this point. This is Arson's point now.
And this Primal really trying to recreate the same success of the first one after building that fairly quickly, mind you. However, with the objective, like, still in control of Somerset and with nobody really to support him there, it's a wonder, frankly, that he made it that alive at all. Fantastic riptire there from Arson. He was very patient with that, and he is not slowing down. Great 2 picks to open it up, but the Shatter on the other side.
They're trying to bring it back. EMP still available. It's +1 to Somerset at the moment.
No.
Evened out. Sinister Pig tried to drop that attack visor, but Trojan 2 able to shut it down on this Winston. That big, beefy health pull, not dissuaded by that attack visor whatsoever. And without even the need for the EMP, looks like the Trojans will take this back over. Greater Johnstown even invest the attack visor of their own.
Yeah, some late ultimates coming in, some close, questionable attempts to clutch it out, we'll call it. But the zoning here is so great in this last fight territory situation. I don't know if there will be enough ults or enough time really for Somerset to get back on this point in a meaningful way. Charging the self-destruct away was a selfless and honestly big brain play there. And now the Trojans have a real shot to hold this down.
The Trojan 2 was thankful because Bubble was not online. You can see Trojan 2 just kind of looking in all directions for safety. Big play from Trojan 6, who's going to follow it up with a great opening pick here in the 99-98 fight. Overtime with Burden. EMP still at the ready. Trojan 5 doesn't even see the need to pull the trigger on it, as this kill feed is all red. Greater Johnstown area. The Trojans taking round 1.
Man, and I gotta say, Arson is just running for the cycle at this point. The 5k Riptire was not enough. He gets 2 total Mayhem kills over the course of that. He needs a jump mine kill and a trap kill, and he is good to go. And I guess a melee if you want to be particular.
Going all around the world.
Right, yeah. I mean, do the full cycle if you're going to do the full cycle, right? Commit to the bit. A fantastic showing there individually. I think the Junkrat has really been an extremely solid pick and a good answer to the kind of bunkered down composition that Johnstown were trying to put forward. But now on Sanctum, that gets a little trickier. There's a lot more cover to try and deny the angles from a Junkrat. But if your Junkrat is very brave or very foolish or a little bit of both, they can still make things work. So I'm excited to see how Arson does now, kind of again committing to the bit here with this Junkrat. Very similar compositions, in fact, exact same compositions here on both sides.
Ooh, and Arson immediately finding value. Opening up Sanctum just as strong. Revenge kill comes through. Trojan on the Winston's gonna make their way all the way into the back. A dangerous spot, taking a lot of damage. Trying to get out of there and does so with 2 ticks of health left. Great pressure coming through from the tanks of the Trojans. And they've got Somerset just kind of caught back on the stairwell. They don't seem to have any reprieve, no room to escape, no room to work, and they're slowly being picked apart at the seams.
Great pressure and no real response. I mean, it's so difficult to respond to a Winston just jumping insanely into your backline at all times. So much cleave damage. If you're applying pressure on the healers, there's really no one else that can help them at that point, especially with a Winston where you can't defense matrix that or anything. And in general, the Orisa does not give you a lot of options because you have to wait for the shield. Going for the cheeky pull, but unfortunately not going to get it. Forced to back away.
Fun with the hack. I mean, Sabo just has to turn and run, perhaps going for a flank. A little Orisa flank going on through here in the back. Trojan 4 is taking a little trip around the outside. Just want to check that pit area. Now, as Savo emerges in the back, gets found out and is getting pounced upon. A little bit of a tank duel going on in the back line. Meanwhile, up front, Trojan 6 holding down the line. And Somerset unable to push in. They're going to try to go through the pit. Asylum pops out, gets 3!
Okay.
Oh my, his Kitten Spy gets the assist. I mean, Kitten Spy really got credit for it, but it was the mine coming out from Arson that really set it off. Self-destruct in, buying a little bit of time, and this one's going down to the wire, Thibble.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a total bar brawl at this point. Everyone just kind of holding it down as best they can. Sabo coming back in after that not quite successful flank. A solid shield here to set up and a fortify to deny value from the primal, but even so, they're struggling to get on to point, to find value out of their kit in general. Before we even start talking about ultimates, meanwhile, the Trojans happy to just hold it down, but a beat engaged with another potentially big tire.
And the tire, ooh, it hit
That
the
sound
shields.
barrier.
Trojan 4 with a clutch sound barrier indeed. Lesson learned from submap 1. And Trojan 4 wasn't about to let it happen again. That was absolutely perfect timing. And it's going to net the map win. Johnstown Trojans take Nepal in an early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much cleaner than that, right? It's understanding and adapting from the bright spots of Village on Sanctum. So, okay, their Junkrat is doing major work, and Riptire is broken, and we hate it. So what do? Let's save... God, that was so beautiful. Let's save the sound barrier for that one ability and completely deny its value. And that was extremely well done. Just great positioning overall there from the Trojans. Good shield rotation, good pressure coming out from Trojan 2. That's Sean. His name's Sean. Just always kind of knowing when, like, okay, guys, this is the time we should be going in. We ought to be applying some pressure right about now. And really, you know, Somerset not really having an answer for that at all. Trying to bunker down with that Orisa composition, but not being able to take as much space as you really need to develop that beachhead of sorts. So maybe
Right.
on a different map, coming up onto Gibraltar now. This one's a pretty solid one for Orisa players. Lots of good angles, lots of high grounds to set up on. This could be a real chance for Somerset, but at the same time, the Trojans running a Ryan Winston composition, lots of room to breathe here. So we'll see.
Yeah, the Winston in particular is going to have a lot of room to work. So it's the Reinhardt, if you can path your way around and claim some of that important high ground, I think that's going to be key. Is to because you're leading the spear, you're setting the pace as the Reinhardt. Yeah, the Winston's doing a little bit of push and pull, but the Reinhardt really determines where your front line sits. So it's gonna be the pathing of that Reinhardt that's gonna be very important. The Orisa, I think, can definitely find value on defense. My question is, how does Salvo and the rest of Somerset approach the offense if they're going to run that comp?
Right. Yeah, you can't be afraid to set up your shield a little farther forward or to aggressively take a fight on the payload. You can't just kind of hang back and set your shield a little further back and poke like they were doing on most of Nepal there.
Right.
If you just do that, the card just doesn't move. and maybe your DPS try and push it, but then they get picked out because your Orissa's back there still, and that's not where you want her. So
And there's
yeah,
so many
maybe,
ways to work around it, right? Like if
yeah,
the Orisa's just gonna sit still, eventually they're just gonna get surrounded. I
right,
mean,
exactly,
Great
and
Johnstown will just find all the angles, and that shield is gonna look paper thin.
yeah, and they have had no problem doing that so far. Especially with the little cheeky Orisa flank. I respected it. I've been that guy before, but unfortunately, it did not quite work out there. So I kind of hope they play a little more conventional. Let's just set up on the point, or set up on the high ground for our defense. Apply this poke that's working really well for us. There's now a Pharah on the field. I like that a lot.
Okay.
And the Brigida as well. Sinister Pig swapping over to that, providing a little more sustain perhaps for this bunkery tank line that wants to set up, that wants to say, you got to come to us, but we're not going to, let you leave happy about it if we can help it. Meanwhile, the Sigma Winston coming out over here, maybe a little extra long range damage, a little more shield flexibility than the Reinhardt. But we'll have to see how that gets going as Trojan 2 just jumping straight in towards Kitten Spy.
Yeah, trying to control that catwalk up top, but Arson is all over it, which is out a ton of damage. And Trojan 2 just kind of has to run away with their proverbial tail between their legs. I don't think gorillas have long enough tails or even have tails.
I don't think they have tails at all.
Yeah, they're not one of the one of the ace of tails. Anyway, point still the same. All right, and eventually, Great Johnstown are able to push in. Yeah, a couple of great kills coming through from Trojan 6, and they just mow over this front line.
I mean, Kitten Spy with a what I can only describe as a ballsy res right there gets the job done. Loses that tire too. That's unfortunate. Savo able to kind of hold it down for a couple extra seconds, but this cart is not slowing down right now. Trojan 2 just putting together so much work on this Winston. You can tell he puts in the time. Dauntless, though, coming back with the barrage. Kitten Spy also pretty close to that Valkyrie, but the sound barrier to counter that could be the play that gets this through. Unfortunately, we are going to get a pause. We got 2 people disconnected.
Ooh.
Oh no, the 2 people that were closest to their ultimates. That's actually really bad. Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
that's quite unfortunate.
Wow.
In a final fight scenario on point A, to our last chance scenario for Somerset to hold point A, and just as they emerge into the objective, they lose 2 and those 2 important ults. That might just be a back out and regroup once we're back into this thing.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any point even attempting. I would literally just turn around and run. Try and
Yeah.
deny as much ult charge as you can, even though your odds are good you're gonna get picked off as you're leaving. Trojan 2 at least did pull out the primal, so they did force that ultimate coming into this last fight. Um, yeah, but it looks like we are just dealing with some connection issues in the meantime. Production in our ears, keeping us abreast of what's going on. And it looks like we're going to take just a little break while we work on getting all that figured out.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down. just like a pill. Oh yeah. Take you like a pill. Get my fill, no, do me in the worst way. Don't let me sleep, never say you're sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah. Take you like a pill. Get my fill. More than lovers, destined to find one another. Like lightning and thunder.
Go for it.
All right, and we are back in here. Kitten Spy and Dauntless have rejoined the lobby. The pharmacy duo is back. And it is, I mean, just losing two like that, it was just unfortunate timing. They're going to go ahead and give up point A. And it looked like they still tried to commit into that Thibble. That's a lot of check marks coming online here for the Trojans.
I mean, I guess this gives Kitten Spy a chance to build up a little bit of an ultimate there. 15%, 20% there for Dauntless as we get this fight done. A tiny bit of stall as well. I mean, this time bank is pretty large. You're really going to want anything you can get. But at the same time, yeah, a rough spot for Somerset just because the internet and how that works. But Savo doing his best, just kind of set up here on the front line, being supported by MJ Plays. Arson getting lots of pressure in the back, though. Going to go down. Trojan 2 knows perfectly well where this team's bread is buttered. Savo goes down right after that. And it doesn't look like there's really going to be much of a chance for any sort of defense here on the streets phase. MJ Plays knocked out next. Mr. Pig taken out in the background somewhere. And once again, the Fair Mercy duo just forced to kind of run away with their tip in between their legs. And they're not monkeys, so they might actually have tails.
Hey, wait a minute. All right. Now that is just one of the problems with the timing on that was, I mean, clearly they never got a chance to plant their feet. You had the back spawns there on point B, the pharmacy duo getting taken out there. And still, as we go through point C, it does not look like Somerset have had a chance to really regroup as a full six and set up their defense.
Right, and it's such a difficult thing, especially, you know, you're so thrown off mentally by literally your internet just failing you. So now you have to find a moment in all the chaos to go, okay, guys, just get together.
There we go.
There's a great moment. Another one. Arson just, if I have to do it, I'm just going to do it. Stepping up when his team needed him, for sure. Another 4K. I think that's like 9 or 10 total Riptire kills coming through for this Junkrat. Definitely getting their money's worth. And a chance to stabilize. 437 in the bank. We've seen better, we've seen worse. It's really going to come down to how well they can hold here on these next fights with an aggressive engage coming through.
And Somerset have had a chance to build up a couple ultimates as we see the barrage unleashed now.
A big one.
And Trojan Falls has been a big spearhead for the attacking Trojans. Self-destruct is going to find 4.
Oh no.
And it broke the game. That self-destruct was so good, Thibble.
It exploded all of their routers. Unfortunate. I don't see who's disconnected just yet. Oh, there goes
Oh, it
Sabo
was the
this time.
Orisa.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't think that's a huge blow to the ult economy, and they'll certainly at least have time to regroup this time because they just killed just about everybody. Sinister Pig had just popped the rally, so they're going to have some sustaining armor there in case
Yeah.
Trojan 6 tries to make a crazy solo play happen. I don't think that's going to happen. But as we deal with another little set of internet problems, because it's the internet, folks, that's just how this goes, we're going to jump back into a very quick break while we get all that sorted, and we will be right back with you guys.
Yeah, we said we let it go, but we settled for the last. Couldn't let you want it though. Who am I to let you down? No. Who am I to let you down? Down, down.
We appreciate your patience, friends. We're back in here. Sabo's made their way back into the lobby. And fortunately for Somerset, Marshmallow Joe has come through with the big 4K self-destruct, so there is an opportunity for them to regroup. Sinister Pig decided to go, special delivery, say hello to the Trojans right up to their spawn door. It had that rally going, but unfortunately that rally armor is not just an invincibility button.
Brigida players fear no man, god, or scientist. They run straight into the face of danger. And at the end of the day, this hold is still working. Arson just getting so much value. Another tire, because why not? Drop it in
The
there.
bubble.
Another 3 kills. This is insane. This man is getting so much value off of this. It's just been so consistent. There's really no answer from the Trojans about what to do. I mean, there's not a ton of players, or not a ton of heroes, I should say, that really shut down a Junkrat tire. It's so difficult sometimes to, we meme sometimes about just shoot the tire. That thing moves fast. That thing is crazy. But the opening pick on the Savo and no rip tire in sight means that this is a great opening pull of the Trojans.
EMP is going to find the back line as well. Both supports hacked up, and the Divas no Matrix to protect them. Dauntless is the one to fall as the hacks fade. Kitten Spy able to pop that Valkyrie, get into the air, escape the Tesla cannon of Trojan 2. Just going to go ahead and just put that Tesla cannon down, pull out the angry fists, and go charging into the very back of the point. See if it can open up enough space for Greater Johnstown to push this thing home. Even got a Flux if they want to slam it down. Perhaps get a little bit of a Sig-9 going. We're going to go ahead and drop that. Sound barrier invested as well. Everything in the kitchen sink coming out of the Trojans. And it might just be enough. They've got him forced back into the corner, into Trojan 2.
Arson
You're
again.
kidding me! Arson again!
Arson needs, can we find Arson just the best chiropractor in central Pennsylvania? I feel like they probably have a lot of those, and he needs one real bad. It is insane, unheard of, the amount of consistent rip tire value that this guy is getting right now. And Dauntless with another pick just to extend it, the supercharger just to send a message at this point. You got Trojan 2 jumping down, but really that is a recipe for a smack bottom. And he does get the supercharger, but not much else. Trojan 1 pick on Sabo.
I will say I've been quite impressed with Trojan 2's play. That was a dangerous move. That was a bold move, but they're able to survive and take the war drums out of the battlefield. Fortunately for them. Ooh, over the top. Barrage picks up 2. Make it 3. Looking for the 4th with the direct. Looking for Trojan 5. Will find that shot. And it's Dauntless this time who's able to pick up 4 kills and keep the defense of Somerset alive.
Right, and this Primal not getting nearly as much value as they would have liked, obviously because half the team died around him. Not much you can do about that one. Very great, patient play, I should say, from Dauntless, waiting for all the cooldowns to go away and then pressing that big old Q button and actually getting through the entire voice line, which we rarely hear from a Pharah. And now Arson on a great rotation again, coming out with another tire. No
Immortality
immortality
Field's already
field
out.
and
That's
another.
5.
This is perfect for Somerset. They are being so smart about like focusing down all these big cooldowns here. No bubble, no immortality field. You are not going to get away with that. We know how that goes. We're just going to burn that down and then explode you literally every team fight. But now the Trojans have an opening pick and lots of ultimates to work with.
That's 5 tires that have gotten 3 or more kills in a map and a half.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I'm aware.
unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. But we do have double damage tac visor on the battlefield. That's going to pick up a pair. And into the dwindling seconds, the Trojans have themselves a good head of steam, pushing in the back of point C. Kit and Spy trying to buy some time for reinforcements to show back up. Hovering above the point. EMP at the ready for Trojan 5. As Sinister Pig is taken out of the fight. Flux coming in to start things off. War drums in the back. The tire, not this time. Trojan 2 had had enough. Picks up the tire and Arson and a single swift press of the fire strike key. And now it's looking to be home free.
Get him. No. Not to be. I think Sinister Pig knew that that their bacon was cooked, as it were, and that fight was not really going to get them any further. A fantastic hold. I mean, the Trojans came into that phase with almost 5 minutes in the bank and finished with no time. And reminder, a main tank disconnected halfway through that hold, and they still managed to pull that out. Such fantastic work there. Great coordination on those cooldowns. So much value from those ultimates. Really, that's been the Trojans' main weakness, is that they have no answer to these big ultimates. The tanks that they're playing, not necessarily the best at mitigating a barrage or a riptire specifically. Maybe a diva to try and mitigate some of the spam damage and the speed at which Arson can build a tire, or to deny the value from the barrage. Meanwhile, we have a mid-round roll swap. I mean, this is 30 seconds before the round starts, so they could just be being a little silly. But so far, Arson on the Reinhardt. The Junkrat was real good, dude. Stick with it. You don't need to change it up. You're doing fine.
I'd have to agree with you, my friend.
I think they're just being silly, but I wouldn't put it past anybody to pull out the cheeky attack Bastion. We'll see. We just don't see stuff like this normally. So fascinating. I love it.
Oh, they come out the gates with it.
Yeah, this is the real deal. And Savo swapping over to the Bastion, just kind of standing out there saying, hey, I'm Bastion. But Trojan 5 having none of that nonsense. Saying, you're being far too silly up there. I will take you down from down here. I don't even need to go up there, really. And now it looks like Somerset kind of trying to figure out what to do next. Setting up on the high ground, kind of poking out from the low ground. Savo getting an opening pick now on the Bastion, a new angle. Some good protection here. I mean, this is great and all. Yeah, you're getting a pick, you're cracking some shields, but you gotta get to the point at some point. Right?
Yeah,
Okay, here we go.
They got one. All right, it's slowly but surely they're making. Oh well, never mind the Shirley. As Savo gets immediately dismantled. Arson went in for a big charge, also equally disposed of. And now Trojan 2 is able to fly into the ranks in the back, put a lot of pressure down, and just kind of squeeze Somerset from both angles.
Yeah, trying to kind of have this like multi-pronged approach here, but at the end of the day, this composition from the Trojans really likes to be kind of grouped up. Lots of group healing from the Baptiste, the Lucio, the Soldier, you name it. And so even with this massive poke damage coming through from Savo, it's really just not enough. And an in-spawn res for Dauntless, I mean, I guess you're just trying to force the tempo, and that actually does do the job. But unfortunately, we have another pause. Let's see who it's coming for this time.
Hopefully not Arson. Oh, it's actually on the other side.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
That
can only be described as a big oopsie.
That's unfortunate indeed.
That's the industry term for it, folks. The official name, big oopsie.
Big oopsie. All right, so we're gonna get our lawyers on that one. Put pen to paper and verify these technical terms for you.
Yep.
But I assume we're going to a little bit of an intermission yet again. We do appreciate your patience here. Hey, unfortunately, internet issues do happen. Kind of the nature of the beast. A bit of a turn here for Somerset.
Yeah,
I guess what's good for the goose kind of scenario.
yeah. This definitely does change the tempo of the match. You could say. This
One
maybe
would say
this maybe creates a bit of an opening here for Somerset to maybe push the card a little.
small window.
Yeah, yeah.
Small
Just
window.
they're gone. They're all gone. I've never I've never seen that. I've seen some wild internet games. I've seen a Zenyatta disconnect as he was pressing Q in a last fight territory on a map 5. It was a heartbreaker. It was atrocious. But never before have I seen an entire team just fall off the face of the map. It looks like we're getting people back in. We're kind of still working on the internet. We want to make sure everything's stable. We're going to go to another quick break here just to talk it out and make sure everyone's cool. And we will be back shortly. Thank you so much.
Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your souls. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky.
All right, we appreciate your patience once again, friends. Good news here, Thibble, is they're all going to spawn together, and there is opportunity to set up on the back of point A.
Right, yeah. I mean, definitely not a lost point by any means. This is not a total wash, no matter what. Like, there are still 2 minutes burned on the bank, and like you said, now the Trojans have a chance to come back as 6 together. No worries about a split push or anything. However, Trojan 4 getting awful ambitious there. And Savo happy to take advantage of that, taking out Lucio and the Echo. Sinister Pig does go down, and Jade Boys does get demeched. However, looks like this will still be smooth sailing for Somerset for now.
I admire the Gaul on Trojan 6. I like Gaul. Lands the accretion onto the tank configuration Bastion and put some hyperspheres down. In the end, unfortunately, the mortar shell from the Bastion was too much. Now, some of those eventually dismantled, but I think they've done enough work to push it in. That's a nice shatter to close it out. That's going to find 3 on the back. The 2 squishies are down, and the big charge to finish off Trojan 2.
So it turns out Arson, not just an amazing Junkrat. Reinhardt, pretty solid. Pretty good Earth Shatter there. Yeah, and if there was any resistance left in what was admittedly a pretty solid recontest attempt, it kind of melted right there with that press of a Q. Kind of halfway point in ultimate economy here for the Trojans, but at the same time, it's not much better for Somerset right now, so a pretty even slate in terms of ultimates. A good chance here to set up, take this first fight in what can hopefully be a couple good fights to burn some time. Savo happy to just sit in the background and melt away, but so much cover in this phase, he's going to find it pretty tough to get more value. But he does get that 1 pick. That's pretty solid.
And Don's going over to a Reaper here just to put even more frontline pressure down. And I can't help but feel that the Trojans are struggling to find a way to counter this Bastion. They're trying to take a full frontal approach when there's so much opportunity to just surround, to get the soldier up on the high ground, get the Echo on the high ground, and try to shoot down from multiple angles. The Bastion and the Reaper both want you to come straight at them. That's when they're at their strongest.
Right, and a Visor coming out gets nothing. The accretions have been great onto Savo,
Truly.
as well as the poke from Trojan 5 and Trojan 6. Honestly, the Sigma and the Echo both doing, as you said, right, kind of staying back, trying to just get that long-range damage, keep them distracted from multiple angles. However, there was not a lot of space to kind of hang back and deal that long-range damage right there at the end of point B.
Right.
And, of course, Somerset happy to take advantage of that, walking straight up, Dauntless doing what Reapers do. You know, I really like the Reaper guy. He's a very powerful, special move. You know, he's really strong when he comes in from the side. Only takes 2 or 3 shots, takes him right out. Savo continuing on here with just a reign of terror, but a huge gravitic flux. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was a 5-man flux coming out of Trojan 6. And they're going to be able to plant their feet on the back of that. Everybody at half damage and the rest of the team follow up on it beautifully. Great coordination coming out of the Trojans to finally dislodge this Bastion composition.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just a great combo like that is really how the Trojans have been getting most of their value. Stack a ton of ultimates together, press all your Qs at the same time, and by God, somebody better die at the end of it all. And that has been working for them. But this Matrix Bastion combo is infallible unless you throw a rock at it, apparently. That is the answer. Rock beats robot.
Rock beats, yeah. All
Yeah,
right, we'll
yeah.
go
And
with
then
that.
scissors cut paper, rock smashes robot to death. Uh, DJ beats up Swiss doctor. I don't know. We're losing track of that metaphor. Um,
That would
the
went off the rails quickly.
right, yeah. The Trojans coming back with a solid brace of ultimates here. Really excited actually to see what Trojan 5 can get done with that duplication. We generally see it attached to a tank player, a Diva or a Reinhardt for that extra meat in the front line. But really anything's possible, except the Bastion now because Savo's dead. But they might not even need anything, right? Maybe you just use the Shatter and get the solo onto Kitten Spy and charge him just to send a message. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah,
simple.
Trojan 2 kept kind of doing this push and pull thing up those stairs and was trying to draw him in, I think. Then just settles for a nice pick on the Kitten Spy. That'll work. Kitten Spy's going to go over to an Ana now to try to support, but Sinister Pig is gone down. That was mid-foul. Great shooting from Trojan 5, clipping the wings on that Mercy.
Yeah, I feel like, unfortunately, Sinister Pig might have panicked there a little bit. Looks like came out, saw that everybody was there and that her team was kind of dead, and was like, I don't know what to do in this situation, and then died. Which,
Ew.
boy, howdy have I been there. Trust me. Trojan 2 going for a cheeky little charge right here. I like this. Unfortunately, he's a little too impatient. Unfortunately, that also just doesn't matter. Trojan 1 getting the pick onto Savo again. Happy just to hold forward here, commit with a visor from Trojan 1. Yeah, this is a solid hold so far. Minute 23 in the bank here.
And I like the aggression. I mean, they're not giving Savo a chance to set up. Don't give him a chance to get comfortable. And look at Savo has to go all the way to that back catwalk to even find a place to sit. Gets a pick, but Trojan 1 right there able to answer as Brennan takes care of the biggest threat on the other side.
Going for the res. Oh, that's so...
Oh, they'll get it too.
It does work, yeah, but now Savo's still out there on a limb. So much long-range damage potential here coming from Trojan 5, but it looks like Johnstown happy just to actually back up and allow this space. The max range coalescence answered. Oh, man. Folks, we are seeing some unique screenshots of Overwatch today. Let me tell you, I don't think I've ever seen the tail end of a coalescence from maximum range smacked directly in the face by a Bastion tank shot. That's a new one. And I've been watching Overwatch since the beta, since there was a team IDD Cutie and a little team named Envious was doing its thing. Never have I seen that one, folks. You are getting a unique show today.
Yes, agreed on all accounts. Oh, that's an ambitious charge in the back. Trojan has the Shatter. Gonna throw it down in the back. See if the team can survive the self-destruct. They cannot. MJ plays with the answering ultimate, and before Trojan 2 can get much work done, well, the rest of the Trojan reinforcements have pretty much been dealt with. Trojan wants to go and drop attack visor, but the dancing shotguns of death take care of the soldier. Trojan 2 trying to keep pressure on. Does buy enough time. Reinforcements starting to show up. This overtime wick is burdened. MJ plays trying to stay on this cart as Somerset have to be here. It's going to be Arson going over to the ball. The Shatter lands again. Trojan 2 are building these up so fast. Picks up 2 immediately with the Earth Shatter. And that's going to do it. The wick burns down. Greater Johnstown pick up their second map in a row.
Yeah, Trojan 2 right there, absolutely showing up in a clutch moment. Just stalling out long enough for the rest of the team to regroup. Coming back, getting a pick, getting a Shatter. I mean, there's really not much more you can ask of your Reinhardt in a scenario like that. So many clutch individual plays really characterized those last couple pushes, just like these characterized the defense from Somerset. Oh my goodness, those riptires. I lost count. I was trying really hard. I was like, I will definitely have that stat, and it just didn't stop. And I just got so distracted by the fact that there kept being
I ran out
massive
of fingers.
riptire. Yeah, I can only count to this many. And after that, it's gone. All those numbers disappear. So fantastic showing, a very entertaining match
Quite.
between both teams. You know, we've seen some interesting Gibraltars in our day, you and I, but that one's going on the list for sure.
And big props to the Reinhardt. I forget which Trojan it was at this point.
2.
It was two. It was Sean. Okay, it was two. That's what I
Mhm.
was thinking. Is we've seen great Winston and great Reinhardt out of Trojan two. And okay, so the team loses four on the other end between the self destruct and the Death Blossom. Trojan two was able to pick up the Mercy in their adventures
Mhm.
into the
Mhm.
back line. And it just caught up off enough sustain to where they could hold for the other four members to respawn and get back in. Once again, big plays coming out of Sean there in the Trojan 2 battle tag.
Right. Yeah, and then Trojan 6, my man Cooper. The huge gravitic flux to really break things
Yes.
open on that attack in that first round. Just some solid, flexible play overall. Like hitting so many accretions onto Savo's Bastion to really try and break up that whole composition. A Diva cannot absorb a giant rock, it's too big. And a Bastion cannot stay in sentry form when hit with a giant rock. So honestly, mm, historic problems require historic solutions.
So I mean, rock beats robot, robot beats
Yeah,
witch. Is that
tale as old as human history. If you have a
of
robot, you
course?
hit it with a rock, and it's not a robot anymore. It's a pile of stuff and a rock. So
Yes, I think there's cave drawings
right,
depicting this illustration that we're
yeah,
trying
some
to
of
lay
the
out for you.
oldest known art pieces in human history. Speaking of
Yes,
ancient history, our next map is going to be Temple of Anubis, which I can only imagine the shenanigans we're about to see from these two teams as we get on to everyone's favorite game mode. Plenty of opportunities here for a lot of the compositions that we've seen so far. Plenty of good spots for some Orisa Diva action. Plenty of good spots for a Bastion to set up if they're feeling like that again. But also lots of good spaces for a Winston that loves applying pressure on the backline to do his thing. I'm actually really excited to see what Trojan 2 and Trojan 6 can whip up on both sides of the ball, metaphorically. And in general, Anubis can be such a back and forth map. You know, you can have these
truly.
amazing attacks and really solid defenses, and then flip it around and get hit just as hard as you hit the other team, and just go back and forth. So not gonna not gonna pray for a 10 CP or anything, but anything is possible.
And
Um,
another one I was thinking here, Thibble, is the double spam. Double spam's super viable, particularly on
oh
the
yeah.
defense here.
Mhm.
If Dauntless and Arson want to come back out with the Junkrat Far, oh man, they could get a lot of work done through these tiny chokes.
Yeah, lots of potential there for just your sheer explosive splash damage compositions. Also, some great shots for maybe like a Symmetra. There were some cheeky turret kills going on in our first map.
Yeah,
Always a fan of those, even if I have no idea how they happen because I'm bad at the video game. Um, but
but it's fun to
just
watch.
exactly right. That's the thing. It makes for entertaining Overwatch, and you don't need to be good at the video game to appreciate that. So, yeah, so many different options. Obviously, these teams happy to flex between roles mid map even. Like they clearly are fine flexing around, playing where they're feeling the most comfortable. You know, maybe Arson sticks on the tank role. You need someone that's really on a hot streak, kind of running the show, setting the tempo, deciding where everybody rotates and hangs out and everything. So having Arson on that sort of like leading role, just given the day he's having, not the worst idea.
I agree, and I mean, so much of a confidence role.
Mhm.
You got to walk in just knowing you're the best main tank in the world. Like that's just how you have to approach every single game. If you have even the smidge of doubt, then everything can just kind of fall apart. So I think you're really onto something. We'll keep Arson playing that front line.
Yeah, no, I mean in many of my earlier kind of bush league Overwatch days where I tried to play at this sort of level, at this sort of level of competition, we would often kind of have our most confident or our most consistent player flex into a tank role or the main support role, depending, largely because it just requires so much communication. And if you're feeling good and you know what you want to do and you really have that plan in your head, putting yourself into that role where you already need to be that guy is a really solid move. So that could be a massive like strategical advantage that Somerset has if they choose to make that sort of play. However, what we're seeing so far, which is not guaranteed. Oh, actually it is because they're defending. Arson back on the Junkrat here, setting up a cheeky forward trap, cheeky forward mine. backing straight up. Dauntless here on the Reaper. Trojan 1 coming out on the Bastion, but Trojan 5 going for the Sombra, trying to apply a little disruption. Overall, some interesting adaptations on both sides here.
I'm curious to see how Trojan 1 wants to set up. This looks to me like you send everybody in and then keep your Bastion at the arches to try to clear off this central pillar. Maybe even get the Bastion rotated around towards Mega Room, currently situated at the top right-hand side of your screen. Trojan 2 going over the top on the Scientist. Is able to clear a lot of space off. It's just Savo left up on that center platform. Could be quite a vulnerable target. MJ gets D-Mech. Now the tanks pounce on Savo, and Savo goes down. And this is looking like a very clean start for the Trojans. Yeah, they lose Trojan 5 along the way. Still have to deal with this pesky Junkrat.
Right, I mean, so much damage still potentially coming down, but at the end of the day, Trojan 2 is playing the kind of Overwatch you want him to play in this role. But Winston needs to be the guy making the space, being the tip of the spear, always pressing W. More so even than Reinhardt. We often make that joke about that. Hang on, there it is.
Oh!
Yeah, nice 3K. I mean, death taxes, big rip tires.
It's the primal from Trojan 2, though, perfectly timed to keep them in this fight. And they've got enough numbers that Brandon Johnson are in control at this point. They're keeping percentage building, and there's still a Bastion back there to deal with Savo as they try to walk onto this point. Look at that health bar just evaporate.
That is a terrifying thing to walk around a corner and see, especially to be resurrected back into that. But they're committed. Well, folks, I hate to be the guy to say it, but that supercharger was not it, unfortunately. MJ plays now getting taken out. I would have staggered a little bit, have a little fun with that. However, the Trojans, they're here for blood. They're here to finish this right here, right now. So far, doing a great job.
Yep, EMP ready to go. Savo is just not having a good time on this map. That's 3 deaths in about 15 seconds for the Orisa. Arson, the one who's been able to get work done so far, is in there deep. Self-destruct's gonna pick up 1. Arson takes out the Moira. So chop it off the sustain right at the legs, and it may be enough. Arson able to pick up a kill again. And it is Matt Arson, the Junkrat Reinhardt extraordinaire, saving the day for Somerset yet again.
Trojan 2? What you doing, buddy? What you doing, Sean? No one? Yeah,
no one knows.
Nobody say anything. Not a word.
Don't breathe. Don't sneeze.
I'm amazed. No one's checked. They're chilling. And there he comes.
Into the back.
It's actually great.
Oh, and Dauntless's Death Blossom got taken out by a remake. Oh no! Things have gone from bad to worse here for Somerset. Thought you had something set up to perhaps take the squishies out while the tanks were engaging. No! Beck falls out of the sky, squishes it down. Trojan cleans up with 2 supports. Trojan 5, that is. Cleaning up 2 supports on the back end of this fight. 2 ticks already picked up. Here comes the tire. Trojan 1 looking the wrong way, and the Bastion goes down. Will it be enough to hold on? Another Bastion on the other end. Dauntless coming out on the robot. This one countered by Trojan 6. And this is getting scrappy. I'm worried that the Trojans are losing too many reinforcements. They only need about 30%.
I mean, even if this push fails, it's a pretty solid effort, right? 70.4%. MJ Plays even got the remake, got to run around and do some work, do some stalling, and 3 minutes 11 in the bank there. Not bad. It's pretty solid time bank, but also pretty solid defense given how that first point went, which was pretty quickly. And once again, just absolute shenanigans on both sides of the ball here. You got the hidden Winston, you know, just random D-Mech, Death Blossom denials. There's some alliteration for you.
Nice. But I think shenanigans is the perfect word for it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no better word for what we're seeing right now than just complete shenanigans. But hey, it's fun. I'm not complaining. Agreed.
And as impressive as Arson has been, I mean, really, Sean, Trojan 2, I think has really paved the way so far, really set the standards and the pace of this series, and is now picking up the Reinhardt as the Trojans in black and blue come out on the defense.
Setting up with a Bastion on their end as well. Meanwhile, interesting looks here. Arson The Symmetra is totally possible. Lots of options for an aggressive forward teleport to get past a choke point. Maybe just to give you that little extra burst of speed out the spawn gate before swapping back onto the Junkrat or something else. But they're gonna have their work cut out for them, because with Trojan 1 and Trojan 5 kind of guarding all angles and applying so much pressure from not the front line, it looks like Somerset might have their work cut out for them here.
Oh, now you're thinking with portals? That
Indeed.
sorry, classic game reference there.
I'm with it.
Pig gets picked off immediately. I will say I love some clever teleport plays. Like, look, it looks like they're gonna try to go into that far left room from here, just judging by the positioning. And I've really enjoyed seeing Symmetric actually work her way unironically into the meta, and be able to relocate these brawl teams. Unfortunately, Kit and Spy got caught on the business end of a Bastion Gatling gun there. Dauntless trying to get some revenge for their best friend, for Farah's best friend. That one goes down, and just a little beaten and bruised. Somerset are kind of limping onto the objective, and I don't think it's going to be enough to get any real space here.
Yeah, it looked like Arson tried to set up like a flanking teleport room up there on the stairs. You can see the outline of the turrets over there, but that wasn't really where his team was rotating with him. And then they got so focused on trying to take out the Bastion, which fair, valid, very important. And now, like you said, they ended up just kind of limping onto the point, not getting a lot done, and it looks like they're honestly about to do the exact same thing.
Well, hey, the teleport in to support the charge. I like the thought process, but there just weren't enough reinforcements going through the teleporter. And that's half of the attackers already down. I mean, a great plan, just need a little bit better timing on the execution.
Right, yeah. I mean, another half second and a couple extra people through that teleporter, and you're looking at a very different fight. At the very least, Somerset did manage to pull out the configuration tank over from Trojan 1. Frankly, did not need to use that, but hey, it sends a message.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, a big shatter and a teleport into the back. So much pressure here. This is fantastic.
Ooh, I felt that earth shatter all the way in Texas from Pennsylvania. That was massive. That the follow-up is still kind of iffy. Now they're having to run into a sound barrier out of the Trojans. Hey, they're muscling through it. They're beating down those shields and the entirety of this defense. Well played, all initiated by a great shatter.
And that was so great because you put up, you know, we talk about like, you know, do you approach the Bastion from multiple angles? Do you try and go head on? And Somerset really leaned into that head on. They said, okay, we're going to teleport to you. We're going to put a big Symmetra wall down in front of you. And then Diva's just going to sit on your head. And you can shoot her all you want, but we're going to kill you before you get hurt. And that was exactly what they needed. A little expensive. They did use a lot of ultimates there, but they're coming up on a lot as well. They have the self-destruct, which has been big in the past. The Shatter's not far behind. And then the Sound Barrier might take a little bit, but a solid end game fight, especially with these opening picks. Oh, this is a chance.
Oh, two huge picks. EMP off the table, no res. Arson's gonna fall on the approach. The Shatter manages to pick up one, but Trojan 1 able to get back on their little robot feet and back up and stay alive through the fight. Again, just a little bit of execution misplay here from Somerset. They had a good idea, but the rest of the team didn't quite follow up on it.
Right, Sava was so excited. He was saying, oh, we've got 2 picks. We gotta go. I'm charging in. And there wasn't really anyone there. And unfortunately, he missed the shatter. The players there on the point were a little too spread out to get a lot of value out of that anyways. And now he tries to get back into the fight, but obviously, not many other people there left to support him, so unfortunately, he's going to stagger out again. 3 minutes 15 here on the bank. They will not finish with more time than Johnstown, which is not the worst, not the end of the world for sure. But these staggering kills will be what leads this out. They need to group up together. They need to avoid all this poke and all this pressure, and to try and have a good, clean fight. Right now, they're engaging with feet after getting through that. That is unfortunately not going to be it.
And they don't have time to even close the gap and get value out of the shields. Maybe use that to try to press forward. I mean, even with the DMEG, maybe you could have bought some space, but a little bit of disconnect there. Somerset, I think, need to just kind of calm down, go with the plan. All right, you got a barrage over the top. Now sound barrier out from the defending Trojans, and they're looking to hold this door like Game of Thrones. They're not letting anybody through.
Right, setting up this forward hold here with these staggered kills is exactly what the Trojans need to be doing. It's creating so much space. It's not really allowing anything to get through, but that teleporter is also the perfect answer in turn. Gets behind that massive hole, gets you these opening picks. Now they have to approach the point intelligently, because running in and doing nothing is not going to be what does it.
That was a smart play from Arson. I mean, that was exactly what was called for to get through the first door. So step 1 down. But yeah, like you say, you can't just run full-heartedly onto the objective. Step 2 is the most important part, and that's getting to the point. Then you have step 3, you gotta hold it. Trojan 1 already using that tank configuration. Dauntless picks up a pick, but they're running into double damage. This is 900 damage coming out of Trojan 1 if it goes through the window. Dauntless gonna circumvent that, drop some rockets from above, put some rockets down into the bulk of the pack, finds them all sitting there, and already has another barrage ready to go. Barrage unleashed, shatter comboed with it, and this is looking very good. Step 2 down, as Somerset have made their way onto the point.
Initiating step 3, now you gotta hold. There will be some recontests, an excellent takedown there. The Trojans need to come into this together. The mortality field helps.
2 ticks picked up, but there's ultimates coming out from the Trojans. It's going to be the EMP combined with the Gravitic Phlox. And Arson's out of this fight, but without the Baptiste, still an opportunity here for Somerset to finish off this map, particularly with 2 kills picked up because of the self-destruct. And though they will not match the time set up by Greater Johnstown, they finish.
Right, yeah, I mean, even that on a map like this is not always guaranteed, and it was certainly looking like it might not quite happen the way that defense was going. However, getting those opening picks and appropriately capitalizing on that got them through and got them a great capture there. No muss, no fuss. That could have been a 0-time scenario in which a draw was their best bet for Somerset, and instead they managed to control themselves, manage the respawns, unfortunately kind of trickling in. Maybe a more concerted recontest attempt might have yielded a different result there, but unfortunately Trojan 1 a little overeager. It happens. I've been that dude.
Oh yeah,
and
happens to the best of us.
Oh yeah. And now we have a minute here for Somerset to try and make something happen. Now, we've kind of seen 2 different things happen on this map. Either you get full held and you don't get much, or you're going to blast through this map and hopefully try and get 2 more points just through sheer force of snowball. But, you know, that remains to be seen, right? Arson here on the Sombra, a big EMP, especially towards the second point of this fight, could really open things up. But it lacks that long-range poke damage except from Dauntless's Farah to counter out Trojan 1. So let's see how these kind of rock, paper, scissors matches start to go.
And Dauntless might be able to get around that shield, but Afar is still fairly vulnerable to the Bastion. If Trojan 1 can lock that down and Dauntless is taken out of the fight, there's not going to be a whole lot of firepower coming out of Somerset as they try to bust through the double archway here. So I'm curious if they go right at main like we've seen before, if they try to loop around. I might send some players around to the right side. They're just kind of staging outside, trying to poke at the Bastion right now. Gotten through a shield, got Immortality out. Now Trojan 1 taking some damage, but Reinhardt's back. Baptiste is gone.
That's actually a pretty big pick in and of itself, right? So much to stay in the Immortality field all out of this fight. This is the one chance, frankly, that Somerset have. They need to get to the point. They got about 10 seconds. Translocator's setting up here, and Arson with a great hack in the back.
Arson has now touched on the 3-second mark. Overtime will be initiated. Bastion out of the fight, but Somerset are down 2. It's a 4v5 on this point. Maybe in a 4v4 if I'm looking at this now. Oh, here comes the Baptiste back into it, and the extra man for the defense. Somerset need to find some kills, and they need to find them sooner than later. Valkyrie coming up the line, Shatter not far behind. Savo goes down 99 to Shatter. An unfortunate turn. Now the EMP. Arson has got everybody with it. I don't know if the follow-up is there. Barrage, is it going to be enough? Oh, at the last possible second, the barrage lights up the battlefield. The res comes through, and Savo has the Shatter to take care of this Bastion. Trojan 1 goes out, and is the lone standing Savo stands victoriously on point A.
That was like the scene from the first Pokemon movie where the 2 Pikachus are just slapping each other, and they both want to like fall over, but they can't put the recontesting beat. Don't you dare!
It got manually hacked and yeah, forced off. That was.
I thought that was going to be like a whole team shows up, recontest the last second situation. Unfortunately not. Now 20 seconds to get over to the point and counting. Arson caught out though, going for behind the back touch, but that's not going to happen. And now we see another one of these aggressive forward holds.
I mean, yeah, I think Sinister needed to make a move before. Now Sinister or MJ, I'm not sure if anybody can make it back to the objective to start this overtime. No, nobody's going to make it back. I think Dauntless tried. Did not quite see where that kill happened, but at the end of the day, hey, you've got that third point. That's something to be thankful for Somerset right now. I mean, win condition set. I mean, at the very least, it's drawable.
Right, exactly. This is still not in a fully lost position for Somerset. They fought tooth and nail for that first point, pulled it out against, frankly, all odds.
All odds.
The Bastion coming back in the tank configuration, getting 3, was appropriately insane for the kind of Overwatch we've been watching so far. But yeah, like you said, now it's just a matter of holding. The win condition is set. If you can set up with an appropriate turtley enough turtle, then you can pull out this map win. It is very doable. And a Torb Bastion with an Orisa Diva is going to be the answer here so far. I would almost prefer the Baptiste to the Lucio, just that little bit of extra cleave healing, as well as just the Immortality Field, which is a very skillful and talented ability. But now the Trojans with a chance. 3 minutes 14 to get the first point, and then a tick on the second to win. Otherwise, a draw or a loss.
My concern with the Mercy Lucio is you just don't have a lot of burst healing. You don't have like a lot of raw, in the moment heals that you need to stick around in a fight. I mean, yeah, Lucio can put up big numbers on the card at the end, but it's a slow build over time. And it's so important to have burst healing in Overwatch. But a good start. You know, we're going to get a DMech and a kill right out of the gate. I think the Torbjorn might have caught him off guard. Look at the turret and the Bastion are just like right on top of each other.
That's actually pretty clever because it's just body blocking for the turret. I don't even know if that was intentional. Savo setting up on a slightly different angle here, trying to get a little extra value. But yeah, I mean, the turret is just Junkrat Tire Part 2. Now it has a brain. So...
Oh, that's scary.
Terrifying. Yeah, no, that's actually really scary now that I say that out loud. Trojan 1, though, looking to give Arson maybe a taste of his own medicine. Over to the Junkrat, trying to apply a little pressure, and the dive comes in.
Well-coordinated dive, very nicely timed. And it's going to immediately pay dividends. 2 kills coming through. Bastion's in trouble. Savo will indeed fall. Yeah, your res is there on the Orisa, but Dauntless won't last long. Dauntless now picking up the tank role, by the way. So third separate tank player we've seen coming in on this defense. Molten Core out. Did get a little bit of joy, but I don't think it's going to stop this cap.
Nope. Yeah, even soaking up a little bit of that lava on the ground to help Trojan 3 build up that coalescence. A bit of a recontest coming through from MJ. Not a huge fan of it. It does buy a little time and forces the beat, which I don't think was necessary. But hey, we've seen some weird recontest. The res gets off. Do we get the rematch here?
We do.
And the rematch kill on the Trojan 3.
Oh no. Okay, if there had been more reinforcements showing up, that might have been a little worse. But Trojan 1 was able to deal with the Bastion, which would have been the biggest threat coming through on the recontest. And Greater Johnstown do cap with a $142 left on the clock. A little bit of ults to work with. They're going to want that beat. They're going to wish they had that sound barrier to press this attack right now. They do have that EMP, though, Kobe.
They do, and that's a pretty big ability in and of itself. But Savo getting quite a bit of value here and popping the tank configuration. I think this is going to be a hold for now. A minute 20 in the clock, though, so no panic here for the Trojans. Plenty of time to come back, build some things up. The Coalescence coming online soon. Final, please don't use it. Okay, never mind. Actually, okay. I'm coping. My copium tanks. I've
just up on that bad boy right now.
Oh yeah, I've been twisting that valve all game long. But even so, I think the Coalescence, the Bomb, and the EMP, that's a fantastic little trio. If you can get onto point without Savo mowing you down first. You see Trojan 3 here actually taking a page out of Trojan 2's book and attempting to hide, but Arson has his.
Oh, here comes the attack, and it looks like everybody's alive. EMP is out. A lot of people hacked up. Coalescence on the battlefield, and another well-coordinated attack. I was worried for Trojan 3 there for a moment, but everybody shows up at the right time. Now, Arson lands another clutch tire. It's not a big 5-man like we saw earlier, but it picks up an important kill and buys enough time. 20 seconds on this clock, and this is really looking like last opportunity, and it just gets absolutely squished.
10 seconds here. Trojan 4 is alive. I have no idea where he is or if he'll be able to touch. Savo just sitting pretty here on the middle of the point saying, man, I know where you got to get to, but you're not going to get there. Arson
Oh no, Trojan 5 goes down. Trojan 4, you needed to get on point. Oh no. Hey.
Yeah. Wow. Even if, though, right? Like, even if Trojan 4 goes, it's my time to force overtime, he's not going to make that with the Bastion just sitting there. Savo understood the assignment thoroughly. And we have a draw. It was a very interesting map of Anubis. Super back and forth the whole way through. Like I said, this is really one of those maps where you can end up smacking each other real hard, like little Pikachus. So they're doing it. These guys are going the distance, and this has been, frankly, a fantastic, if not a little chaotic, series overall.
I couldn't agree more. Fantastic and chaotic, or fantastically chaotic. You know, one of the
Or chaotic.
either or, both.
Yeah, we can conjugate all we want, but
That's one of the things I do best.
I would hope so. We're talking. Yeah. If we can't do that, we're in trouble.
That's true. Very true. Very true. I really was impressed with the dives coming out of Greater Johnstown on that. The dive to take point A was very well coordinated. They got the Somber up high, was just kind of hiding until just the right moment, and everybody pounced right at the same time, right in the same little quadrant of the back part of the objective. That was textbook. That for me was one of the highlights of that map, was seeing that really come together. Because they got everybody in position, staged beautifully, and I mean it was enough to at least get them the draw, and nobody drops a map there in map 3.
Yeah, and what was great about Anubis in general, as we turn towards King's Row, which is another fantastic opportunity for chaos, is really that you could see all the gears turning in everyone's heads. You could see the communication happening there in real time with those dives, with the composition setups and the positions that they wanted to be set up on each point. I think both teams there really stepped up that aspect of their game in a meaningful way, which to me just means that these teams are evolving and getting warmed up and hitting those streaks right at the right time, right in the middle of a series. You want to start bringing things back or pushing things forward as you go. You want to get better as you play. And these guys are doing exactly that. They're feeling themselves. They're talking it out. There's still, some weirdness. I think we can always expect that no matter what. But even so, it's turning into some fantastic Overwatch that places value in the fundamentals, which is really what these guys at this level and age should be focused on. So very happy with what we're seeing so far. And now getting on the King's Row. Man, the sky's the limit here. Arson's back on the Junkrat. Savo sticking to that Bastion, happy with it. Dauntless now on the Orisa. And on the other side, we got Trojan 6 back on that Sigma. The Bastion counter from Gibraltar. Let's see if it holds its weight this time.
Ooh, so far, I think the Bastion caught him a little off guard. This is before they had the opportunity to hit tab and really check that out. Now they are managed to find Arson. So that could turn into an advantage if, nope, they cannot deny the res. The cheeky little res from Kitten Spy. Kitten Spy has been getting these reses off all day. That one hiding behind the wall, that was an important one, but Arson goes down yet again.
Right, I mean, Trojan 6 knows where to apply that pressure. But yeah, Kitten Spy, honestly, like we often don't end up talking about supports too much, but really the resurrection coming through from that person is insane. Should be illegal. It is not allowed.
Yeah, super high value indeed. Well, it looks like the coppers are on it, and with that, I mean, Greater Johnstown are looking through to try to see if they can arrest this defense for their illegal moves. Pick up the kill onto Savo, and that just kind of breaks everything open, the linchpin of this defense. And unfortunately for Kitten Spy, the Valkyrie will not be enough to escape that Earth Shatter. And here comes the progress point A, going to get that truck out and on the road to King's Row.
Yep, a solid push there overall. Trojan 6 putting in so much work, but also Trojan 1 stepping up and getting these little cheeky little side picks here and there, which is really a soldier's bread and butter at the end of the day. Now a chance to set up a defense here, but they're going aggressive. Savo just saying, all right, well, I'll just press Q and I guess just apply pressure to the shields because you're running double shield. The Sombra trying to get some work done. Trojan 5 building up towards that EMP would definitely practice that.
I like it because it at least kept Johnstown from pushing forward and claiming bookstore. So maybe Savo didn't light up the kill feed with that ultimate, but it forced the Trojans to hang back and at least give an opportunity for a clean fight here. But breaking that pact, here comes Trojan 6 with a great flux. Another equally great res coming out of Kitten Spy, and Dauntless is back on their 4 feet. And Arson right there, clutching things out, getting picks just when Somerset needs it most, as we've seen from Arson all series long.
Kitten Spy again saved that entire fight with that resurrection. Dauntless steps up, pops the supercharger, and at that point, there's an...
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. We'll just pause for effect. All right. Opening with the Amp Matrix from Trojan 3, but Savo says, wait, is that for me? Do I shoot through that? Okay. And also, I'll press Q again. I'll just do this again. Keep it coming.
Yeah, tank configuration on cooldown. You know how it goes.
Yeah, just... God, I love this. This is great. We're having fun here, folks.
This is definitely some fun Overwatch. The sound barrier to try to help the Trojans engage. And look at them just going full bore fearlessly into the back with the 180 shatter. The supports get caught out by the bomb, though. It was all looking so good for the Trojans. And they still yet might win the engagement. But they have to deal with Arson, who's already picked up 2 on the back end of this fight. But the Reinhardt and the Sigma are just too beefy for Junkrat to whittle down.
A great initial push from the Trojans, right? But it's been an amazing defense here from Somerset, just because they're playing fearlessly. Suddenly they're playing with, or not suddenly, they've kind of been doing it the entire time, but with concentrated confidence. They are putting forth a concerted effort to just press W, get those aggressive reses, use their ultimates when they get them because they're getting them so fast. They're making value happen, and that is exactly the kind of Overwatch you want to be playing.
Oh, this is going to be good.
There it is. Yeah. Come on, guys. You expect it at this point. There's no way you see something like that and go, Arson's getting less than 5 kills with that time. Even the Trojans in chat, nice ult, once again, they cannot deny.
They
cannot deny the value that Arson has been getting. I've never seen a Junkrat performance like this. If an Overwatch League player did something like this, people would get fired.
Oh,
people would lose their jobs for this.
Jake Rat is proud right now.
Right, yeah. Jake somewhere is just like, man, I'm having a really good day. And I don't know why, but I'm having a good day.
You gotta love the little tip of the hat from the Trojans. Like, all right, fair play to you. Fair play to you, Arson. Whoa. Oh, there's a little flank shatter coming in from the outside, and it's going to be the Gravitic Flux to follow it up. That picked up everybody, including the Bastion. Immortality field out, and a lot of pressure coming through, but they have not resulted yet in any kills. Now they're starting to come through. The tenacity of the Trojans starting to wear them down. Yet another great res from Kitten Spy, and Sinister Pig might be able to get this sound barrier off. That's what made this one so awesome. If they even need it, Arson's able to pick up 1. We will not see the EMP this fight. And there's the sound barrier to try to solidify things. Self-destruct in the back, force him out of the immortality field, and picks up Trojan 6 along the way.
Right, I mean, the sound barrier was almost BN to start, but it also pulled the sound barrier from Trojan 4, so at the end of the day, just keeping the fight even. I can respect that. Dauntless also popping the supercharger, again, just sending that message. You do not want this fight. We deal way more damage than you, and that's not about to change. Trojan 5, though, setting up with an EMP here, waiting, looking for the right angle, knows he needs to hit that Bastion. Trojan 3 also has a great chance to set up here with that hand matrix, but they gotta move fast.
All right, Trojan 5, keep an eye on you right now. There it is! Well done, through the outside. Picks up 4 with that, including the Bastion, and Bastion falls. Dauntless and MJ not far behind. Tire out, no 5K this time. Arson from the top ropes is able to get 1, and the Valk is up. And so is Savo. Savo's gonna drop the configuration, picks up 2, but Trojan 2 not having it this time. We're down to a 3v1, just the pesky Moth to deal with. Trojan 5 getting the final blow on that one.
Kid Spy, again, getting away with absolute murder, except
Whatever the opposite of murder is. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Savo again coming back up, using that ultimate. Ultimately does not get much. Sinister Fig getting staggered here is actually a little ugly if they can't restabilize. But even so, great individual plays coming through on both sides here.
I think some of Greater Johnstown were still back at the original spawn. They didn't get the close spawn, so they're not quite or just now getting to a full 6. But these stagger picks that's why they were so important. Savo going down now, and the momentum's continuing to roll into the final stretch. Here comes the Trojans. Ant Matrix out, and that means that shield is going to go bye-bye with a quickness. You're going to have a Gravitic Flux to try to close this thing out. Oh, big mine there. Arson sent everybody flying all which way. Picked up one before getting poked out. Trojan 4 finding that kill and dropping the sound barrier to initiate this final attack. Gravitic Flux blocked by the Fortify. Dauntless is not going anywhere. And the self-destruct trying to buy some space, trying to buy some time, but does not find any kills. Now the tire coming in. Can you survive a big arson tire? No, half of the attackers go right back to spawn. That will draw the line in the sand. I don't think there's enough reinforcements to follow up on this. I mean, I say that.
No, not with Savo in the back there.
Yeah, Trojan 2 made me a believer for a moment there, Thibble.
You know, they believe in themselves, and that's the most important part, right? You're pushing forward aggressively no matter what. You're trying to clutch out any scenario you can. Trojan 6 just trying to sit right in front of Savo, saying, please, over here, focus on me. But it does not matter. Between Savo and Arson, way too much damage going down, especially with that supercharger from Dauntless. We are looking at a hole at the number of the beast with an extra, because I think it's
an extra 6.
Yeah, there we go. My words are starting to fail me there, but you get it.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I've tracked it.
Solid hold there at the end for Somerset. Really setting up well. I mean, doing more of what they were doing throughout that entire defense, right? Turtling up. This bunker composition is finally starting to click for them. They're getting these insane sustained heals coming out from both supports here. Sinister's Pig and Kitten Spy. The name tags after your own heart, pulling out some amazing performances. And now it's up to the Trojans to kind of figure out how to counter that. The win condition is set once again.
I couldn't be more proud. And is that defense looking devilish there from Somerset? I know it was low hanging fruit, but I had to go for it.
I wasn't even going to give it a response, but you know.
Hey, let me do me. You let me do me.
I will. So
thank you.
I get to see what the Trojans decide to defend with. More of the same, which doesn't surprise me. I like the Sombra on defense here. I think it's a great chance to try and kind of get behind the attacking team, really prevent them from getting ahead of steam before the Bastion can set up if they choose to go with it, or maybe deny the Pharah or the Mercy some air power. Kitten Spy, of course, has been running rampant. If I'm the Trojans, I really want to put some heat on that Mercy because she gets away with reverse murder. And that's no good. Savo now swapping back over to the Reinhardt. Dauntless back on the Pharah. More of these mid-round swaps, but more of what we've seen over the course of this series.
I really can't reiterate enough how much that reverse murder has had such huge impact. And it always seems to be on somebody that has ult or can really just turn the tide of the battle. So props to Zach, aka Kitten Spy, for a really good, I mean, better than I could do on Mercy. I mean, really reading the plays, getting off some dangerous reses. You know, sometimes your supports don't get enough credit, but behind every great tank line, there's always great supports, and that's what we've seen today from Somerset. Oh, look at that charge. Hello, it's Savo going over to Narnia. Like, that is a full-on send all the way back to the phone booth. The rest of the team trying to follow up, but Savo doesn't last long enough to create the necessary space.
No, and a wise disengage here to come through, right? It takes a lot of mental fortitude and awareness to go, okay, that didn't work. We're not going to push that. We're going to take our time here.
Agreed.
Be efficient. And now that has paid dividends. Dauntless and Arson both getting opening picks. Huge ones here. Trojan 5 going down. That's a big opening to let your team just kind of run rampant. Kitten Spy wants to hit that gas. Hits the Valkyrie. Here comes... Oh, no, there's a
3K. 3K again. Arson, my goodness. Like that. Just round of applause.
Yeah,
round of applause.
What do you even say at this point? Like, it's unprecedented.
I mean, it's like I'd be disappointed, you know, if he got less than 3. You know, like I'm just
Right.
learning to expect half the team is going to go bye-bye whenever Arson presses Q.
Yeah, maybe that's our angle now. Whenever Arson doesn't, when only gets like 1 or 2 kills, because he has yet to get a tire that gets nothing. I think.
Correct. No,
Yeah, so-
once. Once.
Was it 1? I think there. Yeah, I think there might be.
There was
So-
one where Trojan 2 was able to fire strike it, got the kill with the fire strike
Right.
onto Arson and the tire on the back of Watchpoint Gibraltar. But that's literally the only one.
Right. So if we see that again, then we go, well, Arson, we're gonna have to critique that tire. Unfortunately, that's gonna be marks against your otherwise almost perfect record. Not that he's gonna care, because this team is still hitting the gas in a big way. Kitten Spy again coming out with that Valkyrie. It's basically a cooldown. So many ultimates coming through here, and Sabo happy to open that door with a big charge and a big shot.
Nice sound barrier, able to at least keep the 2 tanks fighting on this front line. I appreciate the positioning coming out from the Trojans, trying to hold this arch. That's gonna be a dangerous one. Yeah, that's gonna catch 2, and it's just the Sigma left. Trojan 6 is kind of out on an island. Baptiste, keep them alive for now. I would back up to Bookstore. You're gonna need more cover. Opting to just kind of hold the front of the objective and try to buy some space in this 6v2 scenario.
The Trojans need to back up here. They also need to not commit these ultimates. They're low, they're down a man or 2. That's a great pick there, but they need to regroup and use all these Q buttons that they've got. This is their favorite condition to play. Everyone's favorite condition. They have a lot of ultimates. Oh, when that happens, you just dive and go again. Just let that go.
Nice catch from our observer there with Dauntless on the flank, able to just shoot him right in the back with that barrage, cut him down at the knees. And it looks like Somerset are on an absolute roll here. A lot of momentum coming through on this attack, and they've got tools to work with. Most notably, Arson has a tire.
It's true. The visor comes out first here from Trojan. Dauntless getting picked. Trojan trading on the Kitten Spy.
Oh, yeah, that would surprise me. Kid Spy's been so good at positioning. He just kind of flew a little bit too high above the shield. Tire trying to counter the flux into the back, and that one picks up 3 yet again.
Yeah, I mean, do we start critiquing 3 tire? 3
There's only 3. Come on, Arson.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a 5. Like, do we settle for average performances now? Is that the kind of attitude we have on this team? Oh, and that's a rough one. Bit of a C9 there. Not that Trojan 2 was going to stall it out for much longer, but you can tell that Greater Johnstown has really been trying to bleed any second they can. They know that the time bank is going to be pretty big here on this last phase. Trojan 6 now swapping to the Reinhardt. Just by getting another res.
And Matrix Fire, Strike, finds Sinister Pig. That's 200 points of immediate damage, but there's the barrage in the back. Once again, Dauntless finding the angle and able to cut the defense in 2. And despite being down in numbers, nevertheless, an opportunity for Somerset to push forward. Remember, they don't even have to finish the map. They just have to get, close. But it doesn't have to go all the way.
Oh, that was just the barest bit too far away.
He self-destructed all the way in as Trojan 2 dives in with the primal. And this one is about to get real messy. EMP finds 3. But everybody's too busy trying to deal with in the back. So it didn't really have a whole lot of follow-up. And as a matter of fact, it's actually Somerset coming up with the picks as the hacks fade away. Now attack visor, but you've got Salvo in the back, able to hammer down some, but not before the attack visor is able to find good value. Will it be enough? It's willing with this cart not having to drift all the way. There's precious stall time in those back few meters.
Such extreme swings back and forth. You'll think, oh, surely,
Seriously.
you know, a 3K visor, this fight is over. And then Salvo just kind of hangs out in the back and kills everything. But then Trojans 5 and 6 come back and they just start swinging away. Like, there's no way of knowing when these teams are done fighting unless they are all dead. Which, you know, hey, if you're gonna play that way, at least you're leaning into it. Now the Reaper swap here for Trojan 5, no more Sombra. The EMP was pretty solid overall, but that Shadow, hey, you know, that's a pick. You secure it, you trade it, but you get it. It's a mental
Yeah.
trade.
Unfortunately, I mean, like, if the team was there to push in, to follow up on the fact that sound barrier wouldn't be available, might have gotten some value. But as it stands, the rest of Somerset are still holding out on first corner. And everybody's just going to kind of make their way back in. Both teams reset.
That's kind of taking the time. Lots of ultimates about to come through here. The Ant Matrix, absolutely perfect. Very
And a
sharp.
fire strike onto the far Thibble.
Yeah, that's the kind of game we're having, folks. You don't think we're gonna get an airstrike, fire strike situation? We're gonna get all of them. We're gonna get and another fire. There's 4. There we go.
Better.
It's not a 3. It's better. It's not 5 still. And frankly, where's the 6? Where's the 6-man tire? You know,
We're just settling for mediocrity here.
Yeah.
You only got 2/3 of the team with your tire. You can do better, Arson.
We'd like to apologize for Arson's poor work ethic, not getting 6-man tires every single time. We really,
Self-destruct to the back. Trojan 4 will fall. There's attack visor coming out on that back right-hand side. Arson suffers the brunt of it. 35 seconds on the clock, and these fights have been so drawn out, it wouldn't surprise me if we are in final fight territory. Res back up by another beautiful move from Kitten Spy. Arson's able to pick up 2 immediately and try to whittle down this defense. Trade of charges, and Savo's able to find 1. Barrage in the back picks up 1, looking for another off of the hammer. We'll find it with a little help as the entire team focuses down. Somerset pick up their first map win of the day. Hey, they've cut that lead in half here for them.
right, yeah, just a very clean final approach there. Even with all of the wacky charges and the substandard big substandard jump out counters. Yeah, I mean, just overall finding their rhythm with these combos, just forcing fights and not being willing to ever give up. Sometimes a one-way ticket to a loss, other times a one-way ticket to throwing off your opponents and actually pulling out a pretty solid victory.
20 rip tire kills for Arson on that map alone. I was just 20 rip tire kills on Kings Row alone. Oh my goodness! I wish I had a stat on for the whole series.
I'm there are no analytical points that we can bring up to compare this performance. It's unprecedented, does not begin to cut it. Suffice to say. And you know, there's only going to be more because our next map is Lijiang Tower, and one of Junkrat's like perfectly standard traditional stomping grounds is Control Center. Even at the highest levels of play, when you're not getting insane 5k tires every 30 seconds, Junkrat has a home on Lijiang. So this is a real chance, I think, for Somerset, who kind of at the start of this looked like definitive underdogs, to really pull it back. Like, they've been looking great in the second half, pretty much since Anubis. They have lit it up. So, and here we are on Control Center.
Yep. Hey, we saw Greater Johnstown come through with a pretty dominant Nepal. So if we're using that liner of, hey, who did better on map 1 and taking that stat into map 5, and I mean, granted, it doesn't always correlate, but I mean, it was a 2-0 fairly dominant Nepal for the Trojans.
It was, and there is something to be said for looking at that stat line, for sure. But there's also a lot to kind of counter that point, right? This is map 5. These teams have been in a grueling game of Overwatch. I think we can agree. Grueling is a great word to describe what they've been going through, putting each other through. And the momentum, just in terms of your mental at this point, has to be probably a little bit different than it was at the end of the poll. Probably feeling a little bit better about your performances overall here. But even so, yeah, like you said, Control was very dominant the first time around, and now it's going to be, can the Trojans kind of like, all right, guys, shake it off. Let's finish it here. This is our chance. We're not going to let them win, even though they've been getting insane Junkrat tires or whatever. Like, we are still the better team.
And we do have Arson back on the rat. But Trojan 5 looking to match once again. Whoa. Savo ended up way deep in enemy territory. Just got surrounded, picked apart. Arson's going to fall. Give me a first cap coming through here for the Trojans. But I do want to take a look back at kind of the big picture here, because it has been some momentum change going on. Trojans won map 1 and 2. We had a draw on Anubis, and then Somerset taking map 3. You can't help but feel like the tides have turned.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, if Somerset win this, going off of that map count, we're looking at a map 6 situation because of draws. So there's even more of a chance here to keep themselves alive in this series. There's a lot to fight for here on the jump. That said, Greater Johnstown have set up tremendously well here on this point, using great cover, rotating their shields very effectively here. Lots of poke damage on their own end with the Junkrat and the Soldier from Trojan 1 and 5. So much potential here for a very solid hit.
So through Trojan 2 has a shatter, almost ready to go, as does Savo. So I'm keeping an eye on the main tanks here as both shields are starting to break. And it's gonna be Trojan 2 with the 3-man. Anybody on the back of it themselves go charging in deep. And there's the follow-up. Trojan 6, Trojan 1. Like, we got you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, just stepping up and going, okay, that shatter was huge, please walk forward. Another great Amp Matrix Fire Strike to snipe down Dauntless at the end. 96% of the barrage still and does get resurrected, so a good chance to get a quick re-engage here if they're smart. That said, Trojan 4 could answer with a sound barrier here.
Nice shield. Here comes the tire. Immortality Field is still currently up. Immortality Field stays up long enough to prevent the 5K this time. Dauntless in over the top, though. Managed to pick up 2. We had Valk on the back of that. Just following Dauntless around with a little heal, a little extra 30% damage boost. And despite Arson not being able to wipe the team this time, it does look like Somerset are in a winning position as they storm over this objective and force back the Trojans.
For now, but look at the percentage, 97%. It'll only take one mistake here, one good charge perhaps. Maybe never mind. It's tough times is what I'm trying to say. A good opening visor and a big Trojan.
Yeah, that was a nice flux as well. It keeps the tanks from being able to get aggressive and get in the face of the Trojans. And when they finally do, they'd already lost too many reinforcements, and Somerset start falling. Now another just incredibly brave res that, well, Kit and Spy has to sacrifice themselves to get Savo back in the fight. It's best you can do in a 99 situation. Try to keep that overtime with Garnin. Arson coming back in, looking to build up the rest of the tires, and Self-Struck goes in the back. Shield's gonna protect everybody except for those 3. All right, and now it's actually looking like a winnable situation for Somerset here. Dauntless has Barrage ready to go once they make it back in, and Somerset are getting reinforcements a little bit quicker.
Another res. I don't know how Kit and Spy keeps getting away with it, but even so, the pick's coming in for the Trojans, still looking pretty solid for them. Dauntless, these guys are just happy to prove us wrong. You know, the goodness gracious, you guys, like, end the fight at some point. One way
I mean, when Savo went down, I was like, all right, the Trojans have a clean edge in this fight now. And then Dauntless turns around and picks up 4.
That's just never true. There's never a clean edge in these fights. They're all serrated.
I should have.
Trojan 6 just exploded himself with his own hyperspace. We don't know what's going on anymore. Another tire? Let's see.
This one coming out of Trojan 5, looking to match the glory. But no such love. Arson coming in and trying to show him how it's done. Immortality Field protecting him this time. As Trojan 3 starting to learn a little bit, waited with that, but then Arson's like, fine, I don't need to tire. I'll kill both supports just with a right click and a nice mine. And there you have it. Eventually, this point has flipped. And it seems like I've seen more blue jerseys this time. Can I give him the edge now? Like, is it still too early to call?
I'm not going to say it. I just straight up won't. You got the pick. Okay. No more people on the point. They immediately recontest. But then there's also a charge.
And a shatter all the way behind. I mean, Trojan 5 chasing down Savo in the back. Hey, you know, you gotta go for those big plays. Like, you gotta try to make something happen fine. All right, you're gonna charge through the Ant Matrix and do a 180 shatter. All right.
Yeah, these guys are living MLG montages, but like, it's insane. It's so overstimulating. Like, the fights are never over. The flux onto the Diva Bomb. That would have been great if it got killed.
If it exploded in the air?
Yeah, that would have just been. That's like when a Roadhog like hooks the Diva Bomb into your team. That's like the new evolution of that.
Uh-oh. Only
2.
Arson slacking. Yeah.
Come on, buddy. Never mind.
All right. You get 2 more with a mine. MJ picks up 1, and they swing a 2v5.
Yeah, he heard us and said, "Shut your mouth. Watch this." Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We're just gonna take that. That just happened.
That just happened.
Yeah, 83% here and counting. Last by territory on both sides here. Just the barrage for Somerset.
And there's a beat used to engage as the Trojans are going to push in with that extra shielding. The Reinhardt's going for a little trip outside. They're going to go for a walk on the balcony while the rest of the team battles that out of the point. Trojan 5 dropping the tire in. MJ's going to go down. Dauntless is well sent back to spawn with that. And we got swung back from a 97 to 0. Arson picks up 2 with the death from beyond kills. But in the end, it is a 100 to 99. But again, like I was starting to say, what a swing back. I mean, that was 97 to nothing, favoring the Trojans. And Somerset bring it all the way back into final fight territory.
Yeah, as with the rest of this series, such an intense swing back and forth, constantly. The 2 total mayhem kills at the end, definitely the icing on the chaos cake. Now it looks like we'll be going to Garden, I think. Which is another solid option really for your projectile heroes. More
Not sure what
of the
map we're
same-
going to.
Right. No, we're going to Garden.
We are on guards. You were right. You were
Yes.
right. I'm sorry.
No.
We do a little trolling. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we do sometimes. This whole series is just a little bit of trolling, folks. Trojan 5, a wrinkle here, going on to the Reaper instead of the Junkrat. It makes sense. If you're not Arson, I could see why you might not want to play the Junkrat here. However, Arson is Arson, and we'll keep doing that. Dauntless again on the Pharah. Gets the boot. Solid start there.
Yeah, I mean, you take your, one of the primary threats against the Pharah off the battlefield immediately, and you can just start peppering in through these windows. An early immortality field used as well, so definitely an opportunity for Somerset to push in. Arson did so, but a little bit ahead of the rest of the team. Finds themselves caught out and surrounded, and they're going to fall. And now we got Johnstown doing a great job of just focusing on their targets. You can see everybody turning and focusing the same target, that communication in action, and they're able to claim first control here on what could be our final sub-map of the series.
Right, just great comms throughout, and you can tell that Trojan 5 came onto this Reaper with a plan. Knows exactly what he wants to do, how he wants to set up here on the point, but, Trojan 2, get back up. Lots of poke damage coming through. That's the kind of game that Somerset wants to play right now. Deal that damage from range, get in there when they're all softened up, and just burn it all down. A great shatter coming through as well.
Somehow, Saber survives through all of that. The team tried to follow up on the shatter, at least got him in there. I mean, it got into full-on bar brawl mode here on the objective. Gonna be Arson. It's taken out. Trojan had enough. Only the second tire of the day that's been shut down as Trojan's able to find both Arson and their ultimate. And this is looking like another win for Johnstown.
Right, a solid hold here, and lots of ultimates to work with, too. You see the 3 there on the board. Dauntless does get Trojan 4, takes out the sound barrier for now. Trojan 1 answers back, and now Dauntless is out of the fight. MJ could totally just throw a YOLO bomb and probably get 2 or 3, just given how the series has been going. The flanking charge, we take this.
And then the response is Trojan 2 is like, hey, how dare you charge my Sigma? And, it's just charge for charge. What's good for the Reinhardt is good for the Gander. I don't know. There was a better way to do that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay. Thank goodness. Because it was kind of sloppy. I didn't put it down very gracefully.
That's fine. What isn't sloppy is the ult economy here for Greater Johnstown. They have basically 6. MJ Plays and Savo coming in with some very valuable tools, but it's an uphill battle here with percentages not in their favor to make this happen. Only 1 with the Shadow, and Trojan 5 answers back immediately.
Oh, the support's not able to get into cover. Self-destruct's gonna take them down. Now we got the dancing Reaper out there, but no, it only picks up a D-Mech. And the Trojans still somehow managing to find a couple picks despite the great start coming through from Somerset. Maybe that good start was enough to edge it out in the end. I can't ever call these that I don't.
It's completely impossible. This is like an expert level test. Like, is this fight over? And you're always gonna get it wrong.
Call the fight over challenge impossible.
Right, yeah, completely impossible level. The thing is, though, the Trojans, look at all the ults they've held on to.
Right.
They've got so many tools here to try and recontest, and they only need one good fight. And Arson not going to let that happen.
They have been very disciplined with them. They're going to open with the Flux, move in. Oh man, but Arson and Dauntless, yeah, they just don't let them engage. They've already found 4 kills. The Soldier's still trying to attack Visor. And it does eventually find Arson, and you have a Reinhardt just kind of hiding out in the back there. Trojan 2 trying to be sneaky, but it is eventually found out.
I guess I should probably leave, right? And they're like, yeah, you should go. Dauntless just finishes that right off. Oh, was that? He did it perfectly.
He did it.
Yeah.
Got a little help there, by the way.
Yes, he did.
That boot from Trojan 4, I think, was a blessing.
And he just keeps going. And he just keeps getting value.
Just charge on cooldown.
Yeah.
Why not?
This is the equivalent of Arson's tires, because you should not be getting this much value out of just constantly Ryan charging on cooldown. And yet. And now we're at 65% and counting here for Somerset. You've just got a tire and a shower, but frankly, that's what more do you need if you're Somerset? You're going to get 18 kills with those 2 ultimates. So, solid.
Yeah, on a bad day.
There. Yeah, Sawa doesn't get anything there, but just charges and gets 2.
It gets 2.
Because why not? We were missing that. That wasn't, we hadn't hit that bingo card square yet, multi-kill to charge off the map. But we have it now.
Sometimes you just got to go Ryan bowling. That's just what you do.
Yeah, and Arson has a tire again. So.
But we do have some ultimates on the other side. And once again, Somerset have managed to pull this back from a 99-0 deficit. Sound Barrier Ed, gonna be the Flux combined with it. And the Shatter picks up 2, but the Arson tire, only 1 this time. NJ's able to get 1. Dauntless still in this thing, and Somerset aren't going anywhere without a fight. Sabo able to take out their counterpart with a long distance fire strike, and we're headed to round 3.
That, what? Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
that happened.
game. Yeah, this
is fantastic.
This is a game of Overwatch, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is.
The double kill with the Earth Shatter damage onto the supports really did it for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, Earth Shatter's what, 75, 100?
50.
Is it 50?
I believe it is 50. And what's funny is that wasn't even like in the top 5 of crazy things that happened that round.
True.
Because that's just the kind of game we're having. So, bravo for what would normally be an insane play and is now just kind of like, oh, cool. But now we're looking at Night Market, and now we're looking at Trojan 5 on the Echo. We saw this on Gibraltar to great effect against the Bastion. But now you're looking at an air versus air duel with Dauntless on the Pharah. Very different dynamic. But also, Trojan 5 has been happy to play some around Echo. And Trojan 4 is happy to play a smear on the side of the field.
Well, Savo's shift key is still glued down. But Arson's able to come through from the outside and is doing what we've expected from this Junkrat player all day, and that's just havoc into the Trojan line. And this time, it looks like Somerset might actually grab first control.
It looks like they might. Of course, we shouldn't call that because Lord only knows the ways in which we will be proved wrong. But yes, now we actually do have that. Trojan 5 with the immediate Reaper Swamp. Does not want to play that sort of game. Happy to just kind of run onto the point in this Deathball style that they've been trying to make happen. But Arson already has a tire. Let's take our bets. I'll say 3.
You're going to go 3? I'm going to go 4. Looking at what I'm seeing on the outside right now. Here it comes. Immortality Field's still there. Immortality Field's still up.
Being patient.
He's being patient.
2.
Oh,
Okay.
only got 2.
Well, I was closer, so I win.
Yeah, you do win the over-under. It's true.
Good moves at least to watch for the Immortality Field, because there were a couple instances on Control Center where the focus wasn't quite there, and those tires were kind of losing out. But now we've got a switch over here. Greater Johnstown taking control. Trojan 2 swapping to the Winston. It's been a great pick for him this series. Kind of surprised it's taken them this long. I think they just kind of were enjoying the Rhine battle and just charging back and forth, but maybe not so much anymore. The Winston, a great opportunity to apply pressure on the back line. Kitten Spy had a lot rougher time with the Winston on the field than the Reinhardt. And Kitten Spy obviously has been doing amazing work, so this could be a real strategic edge here for the Trojans.
Kitten Spy going to take to the sky to try to escape the Tesla cannon right now. Somehow Sabres are able to get out of there alive. Unbelievable stuff. That Self-destruct's going to land in the bubble. Nice place from Trojan 2. The counter shatter in the back, though. That's combined with a barrage from above to net quite a few kills and should be enough to buy this point back.
Right, great swap there. The charge hitting the wall, but ricocheting Trojan 2 off the map.
Big brain Ryan Tech right there.
Just absolutely massive brain. It literally has enveloped my body, and I am talking to you from inside the cavern of the wrinkles of Salisbury.
This is a little uncomfortable.
It's a little moist in here, I'm not gonna lie. Great walk to open things up. Trojan 6 with a big flux here. But a tire gets
Oh, this one actually gets killed. Trojan 5 once again. It's the second time this map, Trojan 5 has been able to find that tire. And, well, I mean, just given the results, we know how fight-saving that can be. Saber's able to charge Trojan 5 out of that Death Blossom, but in the end, it will be Somerset losing control of this objective.
Very back and forth here. We've seen kind of like a 97-0, and then you get the swap, but now this is following a more traditional pattern of back and forth here, with the ult economy swinging appropriately. Gotta respect that Savo's answer to any ultimate in his face is just to charge, so that's kind of the answer for everything. Kitten Spy pressing forward with that doctrine. Good opening pick from us.
Oh, that's a nice shatter coming through. That was 3 or 4 on the floor. As we get the charge 180 shatter, we've come to know and love out of Saber. And the kills are coming in on the back of it. The rest of the team following up on that nicely. While Heads return, the rest of the blue jerseys storm the objective, and we're going back and forth. Of course, our Sneaks 2 with a total mayhem kill.
That's like 6.
Yeah.
That one I've been able to keep count of because it's much fewer, but still way too many. That's insane. Now the recontest can happen. It has to happen. Pretty much last fight territory here for the Trojans to potentially avoid a map 6. Only Trojan 4 with the sound barrier here as a defense. You got to go up against a lot of ultimates on the other side, though. Oh, Trojan goes down. Oh, and they don't.
They don't even touch. I was say Saber charged, and everybody was looking at the Reinhardt, and nobody gets on point. We're headed to map 6.
We sure are, because what other way could this series possibly end?
Seriously.
You know, there's really no other option than the absolute most Overwatch you can play in a series like this.
Yep, I'm flipping through the script. Yep, there it is. There it is, right there, on page 97, map 6. That's it. It's in the script, folks.
Did you make sure to highlight all the tire multi kills with the numbers and stuff? Like, we had to have all that down.
Yeah, of course, it's all written right here. It's all written right here. All right. We're gonna take a moment. We're gonna figure out where the heck we're going from map 6, because I didn't. The map is not listed in the script, unfortunately. It's kind of scribbly and unfinished. So we're gonna take a minute. We're gonna fill in the blanks, and when we come back, our final map of the series. We'll see you in a minute.
And we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me.
As the leaves start falling down and the shadows above the town, I can finally see you now. I see the fear inside your eyes,
We are headed to map 6, and well, Somerset are looking to complete the long reverse sweep with the draw in the middle, all the momentum on their side, losing the opening 2, drawing Anubis, and then winning both maps 4 and 5, Kings Row and Lijiang, respectively. Fortunately for Greater Johnstown, it was the Trojans' pick, and they're going back to Nepal, where they had all the dominance in map 1.
Yeah, I can hardly blame them for this choice. There's no restriction on picking a map that they played previously. In fact, they are specifically contrived to the list of maps they've played previously. And in that case, I cannot blame them because they looked absolutely insane on Nepal. And Somerset unfortunately looked a little bit shaky. That said, boy howdy, has this series happened since then. Lots of momentum shifting, lots of figuring out comfort compositions, and comfort roles in general. You know, players swapping between roles over the course of this series and talking it out, figuring out what they're feeling good on today and what they want to play today. So we're going to get a very different look here from Somerset. No more of the Orisa composition that was a little hesitant. We're getting that bold and brash Savo Reinhardt. On the other side, Trojan 2 back on that Winston. Super strong here. Trojan 6 as well on the Reinhardt, and then the Soldier Sombra providing that long-range poke and just kind of off-angle potential.
Yeah, the Trojans going back to exactly what we saw from them on Nepal the first time. Like you said, the Eagles from Somerset on the other side have swapped it up, and Arson trying to make as much use out of that Junkrat as they can. It was a trade early, but we got a +1 to Johnstown right now. Make that a +2 as Trojan 2 has gone in and it's just wreaking havoc with that Tesla cannon. Seemingly completely uncontested, runs off. Arson chases that one down. Trojan 2 coming up with a whole wealth of goods here in this opening fight.
Just so good at just sitting up front and holding down the left mouse button, which I promise is not as reductive as I make it sound. It's actually a very important skill for Winston to just sit and take space and be bold. Of course, Savo also knows that very well, maybe a little too well there. Charges in, does get Trojan 2, but trades his life in the process. And now it's going to be kind of a sort of even, but also really not recontest onto the point here and a hack on the Arson.
Yeah, I think you really need that shield to push into the soldier particularly. I mean, yeah, Trojan 5 kind of steps out of the safety zone a little too much. And you do find that opening pick, and now Savo's back in the fight. And here comes the big pin onto the point. And Mortality Field keeps the Baptiste alive through it. And Savo's able to just swing for the fences in there, finds both supports, and then shatters down 2 and 1. And there you go. Nice play from Savo. The aggression rewarded with a fight win.
He is getting away. You know, so we've talked Kid Spy getting away with reverse murder. Savo's just getting away with normal murder.
Yeah, with just, you know, traditional murder.
Just your traditional bog standard generic store brand murder. Just running in on point, consistently getting insane charge pins, swinging around, getting good shatters off of that as well. And really, the Trojans have no answer to that except that exactly, which is, wow, I cursed them real hard on that one.
I mean, it's still a trade. Both Reinhardt's able to come up with 1. Here we go. Arson Tire. Mortality Field gone, and that's 2 down. And, you know, we've kind of joked about getting less than 3, but still, I mean, the value of these tires has been just nutty, just completely insane. The clapback is there as Trojan 5 finds 2 and now has an EMP online.
Right, shouldn't even need it in theory, with Trojan 2 coming in and helping clean up. Sinister Pig does get that pick. Trojan 5 unfortunately stepped in the trap.
Yeah.
Gonna matter. 65% and counting here. Trojan 5 will be back very quickly, running 30% faster in that cloak state with the EMP. Meanwhile, though, MJ Plays coming back with the self-destruct, which has also gotten weirdly high value over the course of this series. And Dauntless with a barrage, but Trojan 2 not really trying to give them that much space. Gets Kitten Spy early.
Oh, what an important pick. Trying to bring it back with the barrage, but no! What a move. Trojan 2 jumps right in front of the barrage and throws down the bubble. Or, I mean, just used their body. He didn't even use the bubble. Just landed in front of the barrage and caused the suicide there, caused the self-kill from the barrage. And that's a great way to open the fight. Nice move from both of our tanks from the Trojans.
And that's round.
That's round.
That was literally just round. Trojan 2 at the primal to really just prevent any last-minute staggers there. And MJ Plays trying to go for that kind of Hail Mary bomb that has been getting value over the course of the series. and in frankly surprising and scary fashions. But with 2 shields on the field and not having burnt those cooldowns in an earlier fight because it was just kind of a YOLO bomb, all too easy for the Trojans to just avoid that entirely. No value out of that. The Diva gets staggered, and there's really no chance for a full recontest for most of the latter half of that stage. So the dominance we kind of expected here on Nepal from Greater Johnstown, more of what we saw in map 1. But Shrine is another opportunity here. A little more open space, a little more room for Somerset to kind of spread out and get their value. But Dauntless now swapping onto the Reaper. No more fair and no more long-range poke for him. He wants to get in Trojan 2's face and really prevent the kind of pressure that he's been getting away with for free.
And I think it's yeah, exactly. It's the response to this Winston. Although I think the Pharah had more room to work on this one. But nevertheless, I mean, hey, you get an opening pick. Now they're going to move on to this objective. Trojan 2 still up in this fight and able to burn down Savo with a little help from their friend in Trojan 1. And we're getting a bit of the brawl. Kitten Spy coming through with yet another high impact resurrection, able to get Savo up on the battlefield once again. Keep that front line bolstered as they go swinging Hammond or Hammer with the other side. Savo has the hammer. Speaking of, the Earth Shatter fights 4-4 on the floor for Somerset as they're trying to win out this first. Nobody has control yet, mind you, through all of this. Unfortunately for Somerset, the follow-up not quite there on the Earth Shatter. And Johnstown eventually wrestled themselves some percentage.
Right, and Kitten Spy doing their best just to keep MJ Place in this fight, keep something going on that point, but it is not to be. Dauntless just trying to get some old percentage, I guess, but is probably going to be taken out here unless they can beat a hasty retreat. Or, you know, Kitten Spy is just going to do the usual hero things that they do. Savo, again with a charge, again with a pick, again with the counter charge, because you kind of open yourself up to that. And in general, this is really brawly, probably the closest showing we've seen on Nepal so far.
Unfortunately for Somerset, that control had long come through. Arson is able to take down half the squad. So they might be able to edge this one out. Still got to deal with Trojan 2, who has this Primal Rage and can kind of stall indefinitely. Moves in and gets a pick before even needing to pop it. Now trying to focus down the Junkrat. Arson goes bye-bye. Trojan 2 able to clean up on the back end despite the huge tire from the other side. Gets shattered during Primal Rage. Is eating a lot of damage. Immortality will keep them from dying there in the back end. I don't know if there's anything to block this bomb. Nope, that's going to be 2 as a result of the self-destruct coming through from NJ Plays.
Right, and tons of ults here while control ticks along for the Trojans. Lots of options. Trojan 5 hasn't even needed the EMP just yet. But Dauntless could step up with his Death Welcome right here, and... Castradamus. That feels good. No caster curses for me. I have the gift of foresight now. The series has gone long enough that I have evolved. Savo just still doesn't matter. Like, oh, we got 4 kills. We should be able to hang out, right? No. Not for Savo, not for Arson. They step up maybe a little too much, but hey, you're getting it.
When you got Kitten Spy out there who can just like get any res on the battlefield, you know,
yeah,
you feel a little bit more, you know, brave about taking those chances.
Yeah, you can just die for free. It's pretty great, actually. But now the Trojans coming in with some big ultimates available and the manual hack on the Kitten Spy. They know where the bread is buttered. They want to apply that pressure.
And Kitten Spy will eventually fall. Although 2 kills coming back the other way. It's an even 4v4 on this objective right now. Ults favoring the Trojans. Johnstown moves on to this objective. Ooh, Dauntless takes that up-close personal battle and does a lot of work on Trojan 1 before finally finished off by Arson. And we're down to a 1v1 between a Reaper and a Winston on this objective. Dauntless, low on health, is going to just wraith out to that Mega.
I think that's not a bad play because you come back, yeah, like you flip the point here, but that's a great shatter, I should say, and just a great chance to apply some more pressure and get the point back quickly if you can win this fight.
Sacrificer out. A chunk of that blocked by the DM, and now MJ is going to try to move in and finish it off, while Arson, well, gets 4 more.
I hate to be the guy to call this out, but I think Trojan 5 is waiting to see what EMP does in Overwatch 2. Before they decide to use it. I think it might behoove them to use that very powerful ultimate ability to maybe swing a fight. That said, 92% on their side. They really only need one good fight to take this map and series. So, holding on to just the right moment, maybe not the worst idea.
Dauntless in the back has Death Blossom. Can you get it again? No, will not press Q this time. Speaking of not pressing Q, the EMP is still available. It's going to be the Sound Barrier coming out first.
I think that's it.
And that may be it. 97. Big charge. Nope. The charge from Trojan denies any touch. And it is Greater Johnstown preventing the large reverse sweep. After not winning a map since map 2, they're able to close it out in a map 6 thriller, despite the best efforts of Arson and the rest of Somerset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think for Somerset you walk away from this disappointed. You definitely want to look at those first 2 maps and your Nepal in general, just to see where you can kind of shore up your holes or patches in your strategy. But at the end of the day, bringing it back from what I consider to be, damn near a done series by the first 2 maps, and bringing it back to a map 6 in such a resounding fashion, that's something to be proud of. And I think both of these teams can walk away knowing that sure, there's always going to be plenty to work on, but they played some good Overwatch today.
Really did. Really, I mean, what a great game. I mean, hats off to both of our squads. That was extremely entertaining. If I had to offer any bits of critique, maybe room for improvement, I would say looking at ult usage. A little more disciplined ult usage from both of our teams could go a long way. I mean, yeah, we saw some, just fantastical over the top light up the feed ults, particularly obviously from Arson, but also from Dauntless as well. But combining those and making sure the rest of your team are ready, calling them out. You should always be calling your ults out in your chat and saying, hey, all right, I am looking to earth shatter. And then the rest of the team is ready to go and follow up. I think just a little tightening up of ult usage and the skill level will just grow exponentially for these 2 squads.
Yeah, and in addition to just kind of communicating and being ready for that follow up as well, look and see how many of your team members are alive before you
Yeah.
press Q, because there were a couple on both sides where one brave little toaster would step up and press Q, and there was no one there, and there had not been anyone there for a little bit. So, the clutches happen. I think we've seen that in spades. I think both of these teams have proven
Sure.
that they can get ridiculous clutches both off of ultimates and just like sheer mechanics, when pitted against one another. But I think you would make that a little more consistent if you did not 1v6 supercharge onto a point with a bastion on it. I'm going to throw that one out there. But even so, I mean, goodness gracious, what a game of Overwatch.
What a game.
Both of these teams really wowed me today. I did not know what to expect coming in. I still don't know what to expect coming out. So that's a win in my absolute victory.
Well, and it is actually the Trojans walking away with the victory. So they'll head into week 2 1-0, starting off our Overwatch league, or our Overwatch season here in the TEC League. Be sure and go drop a follow to TEC on Twitter and keep up to date with everything that's going on. I mean, we've got 3 games going on throughout this fall season. That's going to be a TEC high school league. Our next stream will be Monday at 3:30. We're going to have Valorant coming at you then. Tuesday, we will have Rocket League. And then next Wednesday, we will continue with more Overwatch. So a lot of fun stuff on the horizon.
I think if any of the games in any of those esports go anything like this one, you're going to want to be here. So write down those dates and times, load up your Google Calendar or whatever planning service you use in the year of our Lord 2021, and be there, because I think this is going to be real good. And hopefully we will be around to bring the action to you guys as best we can.
I'm looking forward to it. But this is going to do it for us today. It's Bull's going to get the Bull saying thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute blast, and we'll see you next Monday for more TEC League.
You say I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning, you wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh. You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came. I stopped asking for forgiveness, cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone, so save your judgment cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving